The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.
What's happening, everyone? Iggy and Stel, Friday night, and we're live. Tottenham away, preview for the weekend, all the events up and coming. There's some big games this weekend, and we are kind of featuring in it, I guess, because we are in the race for top six. Brighton stumbling quite badly against Newcastle, have dragged themselves back into that race when they had quite a few games advantage. Man City can win the league title against Chelsea. Chelsea giving an end of match applause to Man City as they lift the league title in front of them. Maybe stranger things have happened. Maybe Chelsea will get a result. Who knows? Liverpool fighting for top four. Man United fighting for top four. Newcastle with that win, I think, have got it now. But before we get into it all and discuss the events tomorrow, including the protest, the final protest before the season ends, as in the final protest at a home game. Iggy, how you doing, man?
What's going on, man? Everything good? I'm a lot better. I'll be honest with you. From when I did the Good Morning Tottenham Away video this morning, I ain't going to lie, I wasn't in the best of moods. And
Why?
I was on the back of that. See, for you to say that, that means you haven't seen the Good Morning Tottenham Away video. And
I haven't seen it.
Bad stuff. But basically,
nice.
just to give you a recap,
Nice.
I was looking at this, I was just doing a little recap of the games from last night's Europa. West Ham were in the final, but they're 15th in the league. Roma are sixth or seventh in the Serie A league, but they've just made another back-to-back final. And I said, I wonder how many of those fans from West Ham and Roma have woken up this morning thinking, shit, we're 15th in the league, or 6th or 7th, and we're not going to make Champions League spots? Or are they going to be super excited for making a European Cup final? West Ham's first since 1980, and Roma back-to-back final. And guess what? Jose Mourinho has done it again, and that's what the video was called. He's done it again. Back-to-back final. He couldn't achieve that. He achieved it at Spurs. He did give us a final. He just couldn't attend to it because he got sacked. So I don't want to go back there again because I can feel as I'm talking about it, I'm going back to where I started this morning. But that was the general feeling I had waking up this morning, and everything that's led us to where we are today at Spurs. And then tonight, I'm having just finishing off a lovely cornetto. And I was just feeling a bit light, a bit nicer, And tomorrow is going to be our last home game of the season. And Harry Kane got to stand with his family in front of the mural. We got to see it today. And listen, if you take that as context on its own, it was actually a really good thing because that guy is a legend, man. He's an actual legend. We're not going to give him a statue, but he's got a mural up there. And you know what? That alone should be celebrated. But that's the only thing that should be celebrated. But in the grand scheme of things, that does not take away absolutely anything else going on at the club. It doesn't deviate from it. It doesn't take me away from it. It won't take me away from anything that's going on at this club. But that thing alone, Harry should be celebrated and it should be applauded for achieving, and a great achievement, man. Jimmy Greaves' record is no, you know what I mean? There's no joke.
Go on, Harry. Go on, H.
It's no joke, man. And I don't know if we're going to be alive, me and you, still, to see someone breaking Harry Kane's record. It's going to be madness to be alive and to see that. So we don't know if we're going to see that, but this guy is a living legend, and we will know once he retires and years after that just how much of an achievement that was in this, using box office's words, bang average side. A bang average side, this guy still numerically was able to achieve what he did.
You missed something out.
I'm sure you're going to cover it.
Brian Hill assisted Lamela for the winning goal to send Seville to the Europa Cup final against Jose. So either Mourinho is going to lift the Europa Cup, or Brian Hill and Eric Lamela are going to lift the Europa Cup.
My day just got better.
I'll tell you what, if we end up this season...
We got to laugh about it. It's not a laughing matter, but if we don't laugh, we're just going to go loopy. We're just going to go loopy, guys.
Look, I'll tell you what. I want to start something different. Because I need to clip this, I've got to say it. So, this is a message.
Let me look good.
Yeah, look good. Okay. This is a message to the Fighting Cock podcast. Flav, you're the chap that runs it. You put out a video today, and in the video, you chaps said you're all now Levy out, Enoch out, and but you also said in that video they're not going anywhere soon. So first of all, it's because you take no action. If you're not going to protest, if you're not going to boycott, if you're not going to get behind some form of action, that's why they're not going anywhere. And if you want me to expand on this and talk about it more, invite me on your show. And the other thing I want to say to the Fighting Cock podcast, and this isn't me attacking, it's just I'm putting the question out to these guys. The question is, would you like me to come on your show and explain? Because one of you on the show said that the Levy out or the Enoch out, don't quote me, the Levy out or the Enoch out extremists, they never seem to have a solution to the situation. Again, get me on your show and I'll talk to you about it and I'll give you the solutions and I'm happy to explain it all. So, Flav, if you're listening, contact hello@tottenhamaway.com email or come on one of our shows in the comments, share your details, and I'm more than happily come on and answer those issues because I am a protester and I've been Enoch out and Levy out for quite a long time. So happy to share that information with you guys. Otherwise, let me bring in Kuva.
Evening, lads.
How you doing, Kuv? How you doing?
Yeah. Another week, another lot of Tottenham rubbish, isn't it? Yeah, don't know what to make of things at the moment. Still in limbo, aren't we? Still in limbo.
As Mr.
minute.
Box Office himself would say, what are we? 50, day 51? 52? I don't even know what it is. But every time he comes on, he gives us the days since we last had a manager. And yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. We're beating that Nuno record, aren't we?
Yeah,
we're doing it.
Sure.
We're doing it.
It's coming home. It's coming home.
See, another record, see? Big up, Levy.
Incredible.
You know.
I've read somewhere this morning that there's maybe a last-ditch attempt to try and hijack the Pochettino move to Chelsea.
Stop it, Iggy, stop it.
But I'm not eluding anyone. I'm just saying there was a little... I read it somewhere this morning and I nearly choked on my coffee when I read that. I was
basically,
he's going to refuse to go to a club that's got £950 billion worth of players in their squad. That all he has to do is just assemble the right together, maybe buy a striker, and he's good to go for the league. Or he'll say, no, I cannot resist. Longley, Foster, Dyer, and all these boys.
Spoiler alert.
How can I turn my back on that?
Spoiler alert. Tomorrow morning's Good Morning Tottenham Away. I know what the thumbnail says already. Last ditch attempt to get Poch.
I can't. I wouldn't be able to do that seriously. And it's like, you know what? You know what? For many years, not even for many years, up to last year, and everybody says that. Like everyone said it to me in the comments in the morning videos recently. I've been getting like the Iggy of this time last year to the one that we're seeing now. We can see how slowly Spurs have broken him to the point they see the difference in my mood. And I'm like, Guys, honestly, I don't know, and you're right. People shouldn't affect you the way it does.
Do you know
but
what? The Spurs cycle is
every
pretty
day they
straightforward,
take that
isn't it?
little bit away from you.
Hope, reality. Hope, reality.
I hope that kills you,
Hope, reality. Listen, let's quickly say hello to everyone in the chat. Big up to Elias, new channel member. Thank you, Elias. Big up yourself, my man. George, I would like to come to the protest. What time does it start? Do you know what? That is a great question. I will answer it right now.
Where's that screen? Yeah, we've got it.
Yeah, I'm just going to put it up right now. Protest tomorrow. Come and join us. Enoch out, Levy out. 22 years. The time is up. 10 a.m. opposite the club shop across the road. Saturday, 20th of May. If you're interested, come and join. If you're fed up of the state of affairs at the club, make sure you join. Get down there.
Guys, it's an early kickoff. It's an early kickoff, isn't it?
Love to add to that. Anybody that's thinking of joining the protest, nobody's going to hold a grudge. You will be welcomed with open arms. The more the merrier with these things.
Oh, that reminds me.
It doesn't matter what your view used to be. It matters what you're doing now, doesn't it? That's all you can do.
Yeah. So listen, every day's about today, right? Tom Thacker, how you doing? Hope you're well. We've got Totspur. Big up yourself. Big up Tony Rodriguez. Hope you had a good birthday week. LA007, good evening, everyone. Hope we all had a good day before the catastrophe tomorrow. Big up to the panel. Big up to you as well, my man. Got David P. He says, big up, happy Friday. Jazz Fusion, happy Friday to you as well. Changing my thumbnail sacks to purple and gold. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
I think he's got a scarf. William Leone, channel member, big up to you. We've got Daniela, big up. Wolves F1, how you doing? Big up to you. Paul, evening, everyone. Ready to get depressed again. Let's see what happens, Paul. Let's see. Jazz Fusion there again. Spurred on, big up, how you doing? We've got Harry in the house. Hope you're well. Big up to Ryan. Language Angels. We've got a user. Happy Friday, everyone's saying, I hate Marmite. I hope I see you tomorrow, my man. The protest. I saw you last time I was there. Harry the Hamster. When we got Levy away. Well, we could start a channel. Why not? Paul Harrison, back down to the ground tomorrow for the last home game of the season. We are booing the lap of honour. We should boo the whole game, to be honest with you. Ryan Isaacs, this intro in 2 years when we get relegated. The first game we look for, Portsmouth away.
Very good, Ryan. Very good.
Nice.
Ryan, if you want to jump on, just message me. I'll send you a link. We've got David P in the house. What does he say? Sorry, David. Evening to the goats, Stella Niggy and Cougar, man.
Too kind, man. Too kind.
If anyone doesn't know DJ Marcus Anthony, DJ, check him out on Facebook.
Fantastic.
Spins all the
and Instagram. He's on Facebook and Instagram. Check his out. His work is on there as well. Some great. If you're getting married, birthdays, whatever, he's your man. Little bit of free promo there, DJ.
There you go. Free advertising for the DJ. Big up to Ant. Big up the best channel. Big up to you as well, my man. We've got Rams. Guna. How you doing, Rams? We've got Jazz. You look depressed. Cheers. Every single week, I think, this season, we've been looking depressed, man. Strasbourg Steve. Big up. Seb. Big up. I'm so pissed Mourinho went to Roma. He made those scumbags relevant again. Oh, he supports Lazio, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Steve supports Lazio.
Yeah. It's mad, isn't it? I agree, Steve. It's crazy how he's done to change their fortunes in such a short space of time. And you know what? All it was is just a plan. They backed him. They didn't go crazy on the market. They just got him players functional to the way he wants to play. It's not great. We know Mourinho's game. But do you know what? They've only got to put up with it for 2 or 3 seasons before he buggers off again. But it's brought Roma to 2 European Cup finals back to back. Honestly, Roma right now and Rome in general, sorry, Steve, I know you're Lazio, but the city of Rome right now is they are gone. They are so gone. They won the first European trophy of their history and they've got an opportunity to do it again. Different trophy in the season back. Could you imagine what they're living right now? We would be in complete meltdown, but in a positive way at Spurs if we did anything. Do
you think Roma will sack Mourinho before the cup final and put in Ryan Mason?
No. I just envisioned the ultras going to the trainings the following mornings, and that's the difference. It will be a revolt.
Who would be the Italian equivalent of a Ryan Mason for
I
him?
don't know. It just Kuva. I know.
Di Matteo.
If you know, no, Di Matteo's a Lazio. If you knew the Rossi, maybe Totti. But if you knew the ultras, especially of Roma, you would be mad to even dare to make a move like that. The ultras will be outside the guy's house. They'll be up the owner's house the night on the night. So reinstate him, or you're going down.
The really crazy thing for me is how many people we have in the fan base that will belittle the Europa Cup, and look at the way they celebrate it at Roma.
Yeah,
you saying you wouldn't want
conference.
It frustrates me, Kuva.
Do you know? I had this very conversation in the chat, in the comments of this morning's video, of someone says, it wouldn't interest me to go into the Conference League because it's not the cup that excites me. I'm like, mate, I responded to him in the words of, mate, when you ain't eating for as long as we have, and someone throws a crack at you, do you really look at that cracker and think, nah, or would you be eating it and licking the salt off the cracker from your fingertips?
Exactly.
At the moment, because when you ain't eating, you got to eat what's coming to you. We can't afford. We are not a fan base that should be turning up our nose at any trophy. It doesn't matter how you just don't turn your nose at it, because a trophy is a trophy. It goes down in history, and Roma have got one into their books, and it allowed them to go to Europa. And who knows? They win the Europa League, they may be able to go for the Champions League next season. Imagine back to back. That would be something else, wouldn't it?
It's the manager you do it with, isn't it?
It can happen. I'm not saying it will, but this guy, could you imagine if Roma in the Champions League final next season, and he's done back-to-back trophies in 3 years? It's a mind explosion, and we couldn't bear to deal with someone like him. I'm not saying Joseph wasn't the reason. It wasn't the fans the reason why we got rid of him. It was purely a club thing, but it just goes to show we can't bear to watch. I know we've spoken about this many times, but we want attractive football, we want attacking football, and I get all that. But this is why I was putting up with Conte, because I thought to myself, you know what? He's only going to be here 2 or 3 seasons. We've had 23 years of nothing. What's 2 or 3 seasons to hope that we get a trophy at Spurs before he buggers off in true Conte style, which is what he normally does? Put up for him for 2 or 3 years, you might see a trophy. Get rid of him, and we're going back. Hello darkness, my friend. Haven't seen you in a while.
Absolutely.
That's where we're at. That's where we're at again, aren't we?
If we had owners interested in football, hell yeah, I would have backed up Mourinho. I would have backed Conte as well, because at least you're going to get something out of it. Not the sort of football I enjoy, but
it isn't.
Silverware. Not going to turn that down, are we?
That was my only goal. It wasn't to do with anything else, because Conte played with Conte managed rival teams of the team that I support in Italy. All right, man. And he's rival, Juve, Inter, all the rivals. So I didn't have a direct love for him, but I knew he could deliver because I've seen him do it. Not the most exciting football, but he could deliver. And I thought, if I could put up with him for 2 or 3 years, I might see a trophy at Spurs. Obviously, we know that.
And of course, he's a footballing dinosaur. Seems it's a dinosaur still's got a fair amount of bite to it, to me.
Josie just stunk the place out last night. Did you see the stats of that game? I read the stats this morning. I was laughing as I was reading them. I was like,
one
how
shot
did
off
he get a
target
result?
for Roma, wasn't it? One shot off target. That was it.
Nothing. They didn't do absolutely anything. 28% of possession. They did nothing. Stank the place 0-0. Took the 1-0 from home. And do you think the fans last night, they went home and thinking,
do you know what? You got.
Do you think the Roma fans woke up this morning thinking, we're not going to make Champions League football this season?
Yeah.
Or did they really think they looked at the stats of last night's game thinking, bloody hell, that was horrible, wasn't it? Or do you think they'll all be buzzing for being in another final again?
But do you know what's going to make this season absolutely unbearable is West Ham winning the conference.
Yeah, if they do that.
Who would bet against them doing it now? The trouble is, we'll say after throwing the competition off before like it's nothing, we're going to be seeing potentially seeing their fans celebrating it like it's the greatest night in their history. For them, it's going to be
open top bus parade.
Decades. So,
Kuva, Fiorentina are 9th in Serie A, 9th league place in Serie A. So they're nowhere near the European spots for next season. Do you think their fans are woken up this morning thinking, we're not going to be in Europe next season, we're not going to be in the Champions League this season? Or do you really think, fuck that? We're going to go and enjoy the first... I don't even know if it's... Is this the first European final for Fiorentina? There's certainly... I don't recall a final for them in a long, long time. Certainly not in my lifetime.
They've been those sort of also rounds for a long time, haven't they?
So this is Fiorentina. It's just a little bit better than West Ham in the league positions I'm talking about. But essentially, they kind of fight for the same sort of stuff every season. Here they are. Both fans are going to be in cloud nine for being West Ham first final since 1980 when they played Arsenal. This is it.
Yeah.
This is what the fans live for, guys. Not balance, not finance, not how much money you're gaining from where you finish in the league. This is what the fans live and breathe for, to aspire to see their team make a final. I mean, that alone is an achievement. To make a final these days in Europe at any level is a great achievement. To live the day of a final is a great achievement. To then have the fortune, perhaps 50%, chance of bringing a trophy home, and you actually get to live it. Say, you know what? I was there when it happened. I was alive when it happened. Listen, I hope to live that day as a Spurs fan. I'm going to be 46 this year. Next month, I'm going to be 46 years old. I don't know. We'll see. Like you said, hope, reality still.
Yeah, I mean, that 1984 final for me, still the greatest night in my following Spurs. It's just incredible. European trophy. There's something so special.
This was
about
the last time we won the FA Cup. These were the scenes. Tottenham High Road. Open top bus parade. Streets packed full of Spurs fans.
Petrol was 46
at the town hall, lifting the FA Cup outside the town hall to all the Tottenham faithful.
God,
look how
Joe
vintage.
Didn't half get about, didn't he?
Look how vintage this is. But this is how long ago it is.
The buildings have not changed one bit, have they? But everything
it's
else.
The last time we won the FA Cup, people. It's the last one. Listen, I just want to quickly say, finish off saying hello to everyone. Scott in house, big up to you. Fluking your way to a final isn't impressive. He hates Mourinho. The disabled team. Can you tell me a bit more about your group and what you do? Because I don't know too much about you guys. It'd be good to find out. Let me know. Big up to you as well. Ryan in the house, big up to you. We've got Laughamatic, how you doing? Who else have we got in the house? Jazz Fusion, Nita, Sophie, how you doing? Sophs, Jamie, get in the building. Wolves, F1 have already done. David, Harry the Hamster, I think I've done that one as well. Just any other ones here that I haven't done. Spurs 72, how you doing? Big up yourself. Ant, how you doing? Rob Belcher, legend, my man. How you? Spurred on. History of Tottenham. Roy, how you doing? Roy, I bet you like those photos I just put up a minute ago. Carlo, Flav from TFC has repeated to the old man from the Spurs. Be complete wish for. And Darren Ayres, how you doing? Rodney, how you doing? Zaffa 05 Guna, where were you yesterday? Oh my God, we took you lot to town. Chris Horry, got Maz, how you doing, Maz? Dietrich Kane link. Iggy, can you send it to Dietrich?
The link?
Yeah, just forward it on to Dietrich.
I'd rather not.
If you've got... Huh?
I'd rather not. It's Dietrich's.
All right, don't worry about it. Show me football.
No, he's been busting my balls about Inter Milan for about 2 weeks straight. He even called me on the night the AC played
Dietrich.
After the game. The guy called me the second the game was over. He called me and he's been busting my balls since. Now he wants to come on the stream with me so he can bust my balls some more.
All right, Dietrich, you're allowed on the grounds that you can't talk about.
You know he's not gonna. You know he's not gonna do that. You know he's.
I know. Look, he's already doing it. Look, he's already doing it.
See what I mean?
Bring him on.
Champions of Europe. You will never sing that, please. How many trophies have they won? How many European trophies have Milan won? So yours shitty team. Let's not make an inter AC about this. Let's talk Tottenham. We're here to talk Tottenham,
Big up.
Detroit.
No, I prefer to
Big up
talk Inter
Trinidad.
AC, to be honest.
Big up Trinidad and Deep. Brian Maguire, big up. I'll see you tomorrow at the protest. I've heard you coming, Brian. So that'd be good. David Clark, big up to you. We've got Spurs King. We've got Chris at Gomba. How you doing? Or is that a fake account? Number 1 at Gomba. I think it's Chris. Spurs King in the house.
He's the number 1 Ogomba, basically.
Yeah.
The family. There's a few of them.
Got you.
It's still
Yeah,
Chris.
there is. You got Holly, you got Chris. Big up Junior Mafia. How you doing? Well, there he is at Chris Agombo's changed it. Mario, big up. Seb, Robert. Is that everyone? I think that's it. Guys, if I missed anyone, I'm sorry. Big up H. Hope you're doing well. Okay. Oh, and Davo. Big up, chaps. Hope you guys are good. Big up to all of you.
Big up everyone in the chat.
Yeah, so this weekend, there's 3 options. Either you want us to get Europa Cup, you want us to have no Europe, or worst case, out of Europe, you accept the Conference Cup. I'll be honest with you guys, for me, and I think this is probably the least popular opinion, I want us to get European Conference League, and I'll tell you why. If we get Arne Slot, he took final to the European Conference League final. So I'm going to go on the assumption that he might have slightly better players at Spurs. Big assumption, right? Big assumption. I think we've got a good chance of winning it with him if we take it seriously. Again, big assumption, if we take it seriously. And I would take that as a trophy. It guarantees us Europa Cup next year. And it's a start of something maybe new. A lot of assumptions. Will they do the right thing, the board? Will they hire the right manager, the board? Will they back the manager? Will they not panic if it doesn't work out? Loads of assumptions. The answer is probably no to everything. But if we were to get Arne Slot, I think I'll take the European Conference League as the best thing that can happen, because I do believe in what Bill Nicholson said, and I think it was Bill Nick. A team without Europe or something like that, how can you call it? I don't know exactly what the quote is, but he said
for a team like Tottenham, no European football is just we're nothing at all without Europe.
Yeah, and I agree with that, Kuva, right? So for me, I would take the European Conference League. I think Europa Cup, I don't think we'll win it. I think there'll just be better teams in it, and the teams that drop out of Champions League, one of them will pick us off. I don't fancy us. So I would take Europa Conference League. Right, Kuva, what's your thought on this? No Europe, Conference League, or Europa Cup?
I think it depends entirely. Well, not I think. It depends for me entirely on what we're going to do in the summer. If we're going to bring in new director of football, new manager that looks like a solid sort of pairing, and then go with sensible signings to supplement that and improve the first team, I want us to have European football because it's another chance to win something. If we're going to cock it up like we usually do and wait half the summer before appointing a manager, and it's the usual shambolic start to the season where we're in disarray, don't look like a properly cohesive team, what's the point? I prefer us to slip down the league, finish 10th, get humiliated. We're going nowhere. Why bother trying? But got to start every season. That optimism comes back, doesn't it? I'll put my £5 on the quadruple again, and see how long that lasts. So I'm going to go with the theory that we're going to try and get something right in the summer. Let's be at least positive. Have some sort of European football. I agree. I think Europa League will be too strong for us. Whoever comes in, next manager, this is not going to be a one-season fix for this team. The problems are far too deep-rooted, I think, and I think a lot of us are saying the same thing. There's this cultural thing going on at the club where winning is just not part of the DNA, and you're going to have to get in some seriously good figures to try and turn that around. They don't have to be world-class players, but they have to be the sort of players with a bit of fight about them, a bit of winning attitude, a bit of aggression, a bit of taking what they want, what they think they can possibly get their hands on. None of this sitting back and coasting along, which seems to be something that we see in our players far too often. So it's got to change. Can we do it in one summer? Nope. Can we get enough players in to start turning things around and win a lesser competition? Yeah, why not? Why not? Let's at least go for it. I don't. Otherwise, if we sit back and say don't want Europe, why are we going to miss that season of Europe? How is that benefiting us? What, just so we can get back into Europe the next season where we were anyway? What's the point in that? And that would be saying we're definitely going forward. We're definitely getting quality signings in for that period. We haven't so far, have we? Drop out of the Champions League. We're staying out of those positions at the moment. I think it's a reset on what we're capable of winning at the moment. No point getting Champions League football. Europa League, I agree, too strong. Conference League, why not? If West Ham can get into a final, surely even we can.
Iggy, what about you? Bear in mind, listen, Cuba and I are both for Europa Conference League. Quite a few people in the comments saying no Europe at all. I mean, Arsenal had a couple of years out of Europe.
Okay.
Arsenal had a couple of years out of Europe. It has possibly worked out for them in terms of league position. So, is there something in it?
But staying as we are, let's just assume we're not going to do nothing. All right, in the summer, because the probability is, see, Arsenal, you say it was the right thing for them because they strategized, they got players in, and they went strong this season, and they put things in place to allow them to eventually go back into Europe and so forth. So that was, but for us to go no Europe, we'll go one game a week, and let's have it right. How long do you think it will take for a statement of the club coming out to say, because we didn't achieve no Europe, the funds are going to be limited, the players that we're going to bring up are going to be less, the squad is going to be shortened, and so forth and so forth. You know they're going to spin it any which way to make it look like the reason why we not brought players in is because of we can't bring the level of players that we require, that the fans hope, because we haven't got Europe. That's going to be the spin on it. So when we go into Europe, and then we get fed. You know, there's a what was it? That email, that letter that we got last year about the money, and we had about 150 million in the kitty or something like that. To, you know, what that completely went. What was the word? What was the war chest? War chest. That was it. War chest. Do you remember that? It's a long distant memory now. I haven't forgotten anything. That money still was never accounted for, never spoken about.
More like sunken chest.
Yeah, that war chest. You know, we got fed that excuse last summer. This summer, what we're going to be fed if we don't make Europa, we don't make conference, and we don't get
I know what it'll be. Difficulty to sell players in today's climate, and the fact we've got to trim down so they can only have 6 out of the next season, isn't it? So
yeah, so we'll have to swallow that pill, and I don't know if I'm ready to listen to any more crap.
So presumably on that as well, that'll mean we've got to get rid of 4 players just to get 2 in.
Yeah.
Who the hell are we selling?
Guys, honestly, I feel that European football, even if it's conference, and let's have it right. We and us, and listen, I'd go against what I've just said if I didn't agree with going into conference. We need to have European football. We cannot afford to turn our noses on any kind of Europe. I don't think we're in that situation. If we build for better, then you can aim higher. You can go Europa, you can go Champions League. But just because we're not getting Champions League football, what has Champions League football ever done for us with our presence there? What has it ever done? It hasn't done anything for us. Other than then make the owners wealthier, it hasn't done absolutely anything for us. It's great. Everybody wants to be in the Champions League football. But for Tottenham Hotspur, it hasn't done absolutely anything. Europa, you're going to deal with the Europa teams and the dropouts of the Champions League. So that's literally an impossibility for us in this moment to go and win that tournament. So you're right. Realistically, the aim, given the quality of the squad and the players that we have, and we don't even know who our next manager is going to be right now. I think conference is I think if we drop out of that as well, then it's going to be one game a week. And honestly, I don't know. One game a week for me is too long. In modern day football, you see the amount of football that gets played. To see your team once a week, in today sometime, and I think it'll be one that we regret.
So
That's
we got
my feeling on it. So yeah, I would
got-
say conference.
So you're yes, Conference League, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You down your drink, don't worry.
Yeah, I had a
Just
dry
a quick
mouth.
message
What's
to our.
on?
No, you crack on.
I will.
Just want to send the message to our friend in the chat. He hasn't been here for quite a while. He calls himself Large Anus, which is hilarious because he supports Arse Anal. I think that's kind of ironic. But he's come in the chat. He's giving it the big uns. I'd just like to remind you, this is what I think of Large Anus. Just remember the biggest bottle jobs in the history of Premier League football. And Large, I'll see you on the fan show next week. But until then, back on your boat, buddy. Back on your boat. And we will see you next week. You can carry on in the comments, doing whatever you want to do. But why do you think so many fans don't want Europe then?
I think for me, it's that perception of don't have that extra game in midweek, and it's going to it'll help with the league, which is it's a fair enough point. That can be beneficial for going for league titles, but we're not going to be going for league titles. So what are we actually chasing up in the league there just to get in the top four again? So it's the Champions League, which we're not good enough for either. It's kind of a pointless goal for me right at this moment. The only way it makes sense is if we'd kept a Conte, we'd kept a Mourinho, and we're actually getting in enough quality of player to actually go for the league title. Then it would make sense. You go hell for leather that season, just ditching all the domestic cups, all of the European stuff, and just powering away at the league. Because let's face it, as Spurs fans, wouldn't we love to see a league title? I've not seen one in my lifetime. A few people have.
FA Cup, an FA Cup, another Carabao Cup.
FA Cup would be good, but I mean, to the idea of going for a league title, I think that's the only reason you should be thinking about ditching midweek football. Because otherwise, even if it is Conference Cup, suppose we are going for these managers that are going for young players, and the project manager with a director of football that's geared towards that as well, getting young players in. Those midweek fixtures are good experience for those young players. You should utilise it in the lesser rounds, where you beat some Mickey Mouse sort of competition. Get some of the youngsters out, give them a bit of taste of what it's like, and look to bring them into the first team. We've got the likes of Alfie Devine there. Is he going to be another one of these casualties for this ongoing cycle of promising youngster in, doesn't get a chance, off he goes for peanuts or free? I'd love to see that change as well. We could use these extra games just for the experience on the players. Just being used to, actually having a role in the first team squad. I mean, like Dane Scarlett the other year, whole season on the bench, basically. He didn't really get sniffed, did he? What was the point? Mind you, he was too young to loan out at the time, wasn't he? So I suppose that's the reason. But I think we should take every opportunity. Like Iggy says, if the opportunity is there, you go for it. Doesn't matter the competition. Winning something at the end of the day. We've got to say that no matter how bad this season's been, next season, Conference League, we must be in with a huge shout of winning that.
Let's get Arne Slot in. Let's get him in.
Do you know what? Let's talk about Arne Slot because.
But to answer your question, still, I do genuinely think, whilst I agree with what Kuva said and the reasons as to why some people don't want conference, I genuinely think, after reading some of the comments in the chat in the morning videos, there's a genuine thing that feeling amongst the fans, maybe not all, but certainly a part of them, that feel that conference is too beneath us. And I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. I don't think we're in a position to say that any trophy or any European competition is beneath us. And I think I genuinely feel there's an attitude towards this is too beneath us. I'd rather go without. If it's not Champions League, it's not Europa, I don't want to hear of it. And I think that's wrong. I truly do believe that's wrong. Because I challenge anyone, any Spurs fan right now that wouldn't want to be in West Ham's position today.
Do you know?
I spoke Fiorentina or Roma, please.
I spoke to one of the coaches at Arsenal, and he said to me the first thing Arsenal did when they sacked Wenger and they put in Unai Emery and that didn't work, and they brought in Freddie Ljungberg and they sacked him and they went for a few managers, I think. When they brought in Arteta, they had accepted that they accepted that they have a problem. Like the owners had accepted, we have got a problem at this club. We're clearly doing this wrong. There's a problem here. And that was the beginning of acknowledging, right, we're going to have to go through the whole trust the process, the pain. Listen, there's still bottle jobs. Let's have it right? That hasn't gone away. But they are better. And the beginning of their rebuild started when they accepted that they had a problem. Now, I think Spurs need to do the same. The board need to accept they have got a problem and it's them. They're doing it wrong. And the fans need to accept that we have a problem and we can't just say, oh, the Europa Conference League that's not for us. If you say that, then you haven't accepted there's a problem. That's what I think. I think if you just dismiss the Europa Conference League, you're not accepting that there's a problem at this club. Or you want it to crash and burn so much that the owners sell up. Then I get it, right? Then that if that's your thinking, I get it. We don't want no money coming into the club. We want no exposure to Europe. We don't want the best players coming in because Europe might attract them. Just let it crash and burn. Then all right, I get it. That makes sense. But to not want it because of what Iggy said, that we're bigger than that. No, we're not. Spurs are not bigger than that, and I think that's the case. But
let's face it.
Yeah,
we're talking about a big six for a long time. The two Manchester clubs, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, and ourselves. The danger is now Newcastle are going to overtake us there. They are putting the money in. Yeah, well, this season they'll be in the top, finishing, cementing their place in the top four, won't they? So we've got to get out of our minds that we are one of that elite pack at the moment. We're not. We should be, but we aren't. We need to get to that point again. That's going to be difficult. I mean, personally, I think we might not see Champions League football for at least 10 years now. I think that's the harsh reality. We're so far off being a coherent team. You look at the way the others above us are playing, including Brighton. We're light years off that. Brighton will be even further ahead of us if they didn't get robbed on so many points this season.
I think it's the way they're behaving. I think those clubs are behaving the right way.
Yeah,
they're doing all the right things.
No, they've got a grasp of what their limitations are, and they play to their strengths. Brentford's probably the best example of that because they've very recently come up into the top division and doing it on that shoestring budget, but spending so wisely. And all the players know what the score is. They know they're not going to be like players that get into those top four sort of clubs, but they give it the best they've got, and they've comfortably secured their Premiership status. And there was a hint of going for Europe this season. I think they've sort of fallen away a bit now, Brentford. But fair play to them. It's a kind of attitude that we need. But we're a club with far better resources. We should be aiming at a higher level than they do. We've got to be looking at top four. Shouldn't be a sort of this be all and end all like the trophy that it keeps getting talked about. That should be seen as the minimum requirement if you're ambitious. You've got to be up there. You've got to be in there. It's very cutthroat now, though. Like I said, with Newcastle joining the pack now, harder than ever to get into that position. But we're further away from it than ever, aren't we? I think we're back to the point where we need a Martin Yole to come in and just steady the club. Make
Arnie Slot.
Football. Yeah.
Arnie Slot. He's got no hair. We don't care. Arnie Slot. Arnie Slot.
I don't think we're quite at the point where we desperately need a Sam Allardyce, but I mean, some of the results this season, we certainly look like it. Yeah, some a bit of confidence. Slot could do the job. Could do.
I want to get on to Arnie Slot, and I'll just quickly read the super chat from Language Angels. I was at the 84 UEFA Cup final when we won. Unbelievable feeling. winning trophies is what it's all about. Still get the tingles. Language Angels, I agree with you. I wasn't there. I was too young, but listen, I've experienced winning a big trophy. Unfortunately, not with Tottenham. When Greece won the Euros in 2004, my God, honestly. But anyway, thanks for the super chat. We all agree with you. There's a few people in the comments. Thank you as well to Wayne Holland for the super sticker. By the way, I hope everything goes all right. I know you got your appointment with the doctors, so I hope everything works out for you, Wayne. Yeah, look, Arnie Slot, okay. Bit charismatic, bit bald. He fits perfectly on the show, actually, doesn't he? Look, right between me and Iggy, bald heads.
I think he needs a bit of a beard, though, doesn't he?
I agree. Something.
How good if Arnie Slot turned up on day one with a purple and gold scarf? That'd be mint. Absolute mustard. So I was on Tottenham. We had Tottenham TV yesterday. They asked me to come on, the boys, because they did an Arnie Slot kind of 15-minute video, and I messaged them a week before Conte got sacked, not knowing Conte was going to get sacked. And I said, look, if Conte goes, he's the guy I want. So they brought me on to explain why I said that back then. And my thinking was this, right? I wanted Poch back. That would have been my first choice, but I knew he was never going to come back. I thought Poch was going to turn down Tottenham. Turns out we never even approached him. I would have then wanted Nagelsmann because I think he's fantastic, but I knew he was going to come with the kind of demands that a top manager should come with, and the board are going to be like, what? Demands? Do the right thing? Nah, not for us. So now they're denying even speaking to him. So I knew something like that was going to play out, and it literally played out just like that, or thereabouts. So if we're going to have to take a yes man that can work under this failed ownership, then for me, I think Arnie Slot is probably the right fit. I would have liked De Zerbi, but I don't think De Zerbi would come here without a few stipulations. He seems like he's got a bit of fire in him, De Zerbi. But Arnie Slot, listen, this guy, in his first season as a manager, finished second in the league on goal difference at AZ Alkmaar. In his second season, he went to Feyenoord. They finished third. He won manager of the season ahead of Ten Hag, who's now the manager of Man United. And he got to the European Conference League final. And then this season, he's won the league in Holland. And he got to the Europa Cup quarterfinals. When I look at him as a manager, each year he's evolving, he's progressing, he's doing something better than he did the year before. So when I look at him as a progressive manager who's young, still learning, I'm thinking, do you know what? You're a bit of a Poch. There's something about you that reminds me of Poch. He's definitely someone that gets the players on board on the simple grounds. You do not get the results he's got unless the players buy into what you're doing. You cannot get those kind of performances. He also broke the record at AZ Alkmaar for the most points per game in the history of their club in a season. So he knows what he's doing. The downfall with him is, one, he's going to be up against Klopp, Pep, Ten Hag, Poch at Chelsea, Unai Emery. There's some experienced heavyweights he's going to be up against. He's never had to deal with that every single week, like the Premier League is going to put you up against. And the other thing is, the way he plays, his formation is a 4-2-3-1, but it goes into a 1-2-8 or 1-2-1-7. He overloads the attack. So both wing backs bomb up. It's not if one goes, the other one tucks in. They both go. The two pivot players, or the holding mids, attacking mids, whatever you want to call them, they both go. The three behind the striker, they go. He just suffocates you, which means the players at the back, if there's a counter attack, they need to have pace. I don't know anyone who plays centre back at Spurs that's got real pace. Maybe Romero, but he's rash. That's not the guy you want in a recovery situation because he's getting a red card. Also, his goalkeepers, they always play out from the back. And when the other team press him, his team, the goalie pings the ball high and wide over the press. So you need someone who can play in goal, who can play diagonal balls the way Toby Alderweireld did. None of our goalies can do that. No, in terms of the two...
There's an obvious one, isn't there? Brentford, Raya. He's great at playing the ball out.
Oh, yeah, no, Kuvi. Yeah, no. the point I'm trying to make is we're going to need to buy in some players for his system to work. Centre back, goalie, and then the two that play in front of the back four, other than Bissouma, maybe Skip and Pape Sarr if he can develop them quickly. I think we're going to need someone in that position as well, and possibly someone in the middle of the front three, unless he can move Kulusevski in there, or he's got different, or unless he plays Kane there and Richarlison up front. But Richarlison, so he's going to need some players and players that suit his system. You can't be doing all these club signings; it's not going to work. So for me,
I think he's a good deal. The likes of a Højbjerg isn't going to do that sort of role. He hasn't got the legs for it. He needs to be highly mobile.
The way Slot's team plays, it's possession based. It's on the deck. You know, when you see Man City play the ball out from the back, they always keep the ball moving. It doesn't stop moving. They're happy to keep the ball for 45 passes before creating a chance. Arne Slot is not like that. He builds it up and then pow, forward pass. Very risky passes, very direct, on the floor, crisp, pinpoint accuracy. Where Pep would want to do maybe a 30, 35, 40 pass move, Arne Slot wants it, 15, 20. Speed it up. Don't want too much sideways. Avoid ever going backwards. Forward. Very, very, very explosive passing.
And the other thing to add,
I don't know if we've got the players for that, Kuva. I don't know if we've got the players for it.
Other thing to add to that, because he wants to get the players forward so much, that's why I say I see what he's saying. It's a similarity to Pochettino's system. It's all about loading the box with players and just getting that ball in there. Getting as many people joined in it. You watch this season, the amount of times where we have maybe one or two players in the box at most. And, we're very hopeful to get the attack going. This is very much like to call the, toot on the bugle and charge forward. It's a really attacking way of playing. It's been too much for Ajax this season. As you know, the likes of Danny Kiriaka and I, we watch a lot of the Eredivisie because like Ajax, and they've outclassed them. There's no doubt about it. Ajax had a bit of a lull, but take nothing away from Feyenoord. They've been well worth it, unfortunately.
Listen, you got to take advantage. If another team dips, you got to still perform. Yeah, that's how it works, right?
Yeah, but he's the real deal. Proof that AZ. So this is a good manager. I mean, Ten Hag, same thing. You knew there was something there. The question is, like you said, it's him coming over to the EPL at the moment, because we do have quite a sort of star-studded manager lineup there to compete against. I think instead of looking at, from my point of view, instead of looking at that as being maybe a negative, it might be the incentive there. It's for him to grow as a manager while the team's growing with him. There's a decent amount of competition there to really get the most out of something. It's a good benchmark as well, isn't it? If we just had really weak Premier League with just two or three teams that are worth competing with, and we finish fourth, it's not much of an achievement. Right now, you finish fourth, it suddenly is something, because it's strong. It's getting stronger all the time as well. Especially with what Emery's doing at Villa. You've got to assume he's going to keep that going. We've got some serious competition for places now.
I do want to stress to everyone watching, if I had to pick, I want Poch or Nagelsmann. Even though I think whoever comes to Spurs, I need to stress, there's so many caveats. I think whoever comes to Spurs is doomed eventually, because I don't think Levy will change his way. I'm always going to be Levy out. I just don't think they'll change their ways. However, if I'm going to pretend they're going to change, I want Poch or Nagelsmann, which I knew weren't happening. So I'm just working my way down to what I think is actually going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't even think we're going to get Arne Slot. That's just what I want, given what I think potentially could happen. I think we are going to get a Mason, a Potter, or a Brendan Rodgers. I really do. I hope I'm wrong. But Michael, thanks for coming on, my man. Let me ask you a question. In fact, let me ask Kuva as well, both of you. Someone said to me today, why do you want Arne Slot? And I explained all my reasons why. And then they said to me, what's he won? I said, he's won the Dutch League. And they said, what's bigger, the FA Cup or the Dutch League? So I explained, I think the FA Cup's got more prestige, more history, more people watch it. But a lot of clubs don't take it seriously, so it's hard to tell how hard it is to win an FA Cup compared to a Dutch league. However, the FA Cup's probably got more quality sides in it than the Dutch league. So I think maybe they're on par, possibly, but a league is consistency, a cup is just a run. I don't know. And then he said to me, well, and he put up a good argument, and I'm going to put it to you now. Brendan Rodgers has won the FA Cup. Would you not want someone that's won the FA Cup who has got Premier League experience? And he did quite well at Liverpool. He came in within a Gerrard slip from winning the league title. Would you not want him over someone that's only proven it in Holland?
You want to go first, Kuva, or should I?
No, go for it, mate. It's a leading question for you.
Yeah. Like the first thing for me is always like the league is always harder to win for me than any cup competition, because no matter how you look at it, to win a cup competition, you have to win 13 games. Let's say you don't even have to win all of them, right? If there are double ties or a group stage like in the
probably
European
7 or 8,
competition.
Michael. Probably 7 or 8
So
games. Yeah.
you need to win like 7 or 8 games, right? To win Premier League, with City there, you probably need to win like 33 games, right? Most likely. So or 30 games or whatever, right? So I will always say that winning any league should not be scoffed at, right? Of course, there are leagues which are better than the others, right? But as an outsider, someone who is not living in the UK, I sometimes have a feeling that like people from Great Britain have this like superiority complex in terms of the Premier League. Of course, it's the best league in the world, right? But it's not that far off, that far better than the other leagues. Dutch league is not like something to be scoffed at, in my opinion, right? You have to have some, something about you to win the league, especially when you are not the manager of PSV or Ajax, right? To dethrone those two is not something that can be dismissed simply, right? So I would much rather have Arne Slot than Brendan Rodgers, right? Because yes, the argument is there about like the FA Cup win, or as Stelios said, Rodgers' Liverpool side, right? How close they were to winning the league. But also you can spin the argument the other way and say that he bottled the league, right? That he didn't win much with Leicester other than the FA Cup, even though Leicester side was actually quite consistent and quite good, right? They were just like a tiny bit away from qualifying to the Champions League twice. So it just depends how you look at it, right? If I were given a choice of appointing Slot or Rodgers, I would rather go for Slot, mainly because I think his ideas about playing the game are much more fresh and much more on the front foot. I think people would like to watch us, something that we haven't like experienced in quite some time. So yeah, the whole league versus FA Cup thing, I'm not someone to dismiss winning like some major leagues in Europe, right? It's not like Dutch league is 30th like Polish league, right? If it was Polish league, then I would say that it's no feat, right? But winning the Dutch league is not that easy, especially not with Ajax, right?
Listen, Holland's one of the top 5-6 leagues in Europe, so you can't dismiss it. We just got to be. Look, Ten Hag won the Dutch league. Look at Man United. He's done pretty well there in his first season, although he has been backed to some degree. Just to this comment below, you're right. Jose Mourinho did teach Slot a lesson, but that's why I said the one criticism is he hasn't come up against big managers on a consistent basis. But the fact he's evolved as a manager in a progressive way every year, if you're going to come and learn how to come against these managers, this is the place. Again, caveat, I don't think any manager at Tottenham is going to survive in the long run anyway, right? I keep repeating that, but I'm just trying to put a positive spin on the most darkest negative club in English football, which is Tottenham.
And let's face it, Jose has taught an awful lot of managers a lesson. Some of them very big names. So that's no
and the one club he couldn't win at was Tottenham.
Xavi Alonso, who was heavily linked with us for some time, he got I don't want to say he got schooled by Jose, right? But he eliminated Leverkusen from the cup,
He
right?
got schooled,
They had
Michael.
23
schooled.
fucking shots on 23 shots on goal, right? Not on target, like 23 shots
Imagine
taken
knowing,
to one of
right?
Roma,
Imagine
and
knowing.
he still went through.
Imagine knowing you're going to play a team whose manager is going to be pragmatic, low block, negative, do anything they can to shithousery. You know what you're walking into, and you still can't win it.
Yeah. It's not enjoyable to watch. I watched that Leverkusen versus Roma game. Like the amount of time wasting shithousery from that Roma side was absolutely like, oh, it was so hard to watch, right? But still, you can't deny the guy's talent, right? There is something about him. Like the guy reaches the second European final in a row with the same side, right? And
He
as
got
Stelios
Spurs to a
has said,
final. He
yeah,
got Spurs to
he
a
got
final.
us to a final. That's like, just make it make sense, right? So yeah, like being taught as a footballing lesson by Jose is nothing to be ashamed of, right? It's just whether you take experience from it and try to develop your tactics to try to fight those type of teams, right?
You can see it. He infuriates opposing managers into making mistakes.
Yeah,
he really does. If you're struggling to score against that low block of his, and so you go more attacking. He just waits until you go more and more attacking, and then there's a breakaway goal. That's it. Yep. Shut up shop again. It's like if you realise what he's doing. I hate that style of football, but there's a part of me that's also laughing my head off at it. It's the finger straight in the face of the opposition. What are you going to do about it? I actually, the weird thing is that I've never understood this because I didn't want him at Spurs in the first place because of that kind of football in particular. But when everybody started turning against him, or a lot of people started turning against him, I saw him because of the documentary. I saw him, the human side of him. And as a person, I really took to him. I really started thinking, this is a really nice bloke. And I was sort of rooting for him to win some of these things. So, I've kind of become a Mourinho fan in the meantime, despite the fact I hate
his Kova. Yes, Kova. He's all right.
He just gets shit done, doesn't he? That's it.
Yeah, like I was like similar. I didn't want. I don't like Jose football, right? Let's be honest about it. It's not enjoyable to watch, but you can't deny it. The guy keeps winning everywhere he goes, except for Tottenham, of course. But everywhere he goes, he wins shit, right? He won Roma their first European trophy, first ever European trophy, right? It's absolutely like same as Conte, of course, right? And I was especially because I was just getting into football when the whole Jose thing was going, and eventually he got sacked, right? But I was absolutely flabbergasted with how vile people got towards him, right? The arguments of would you enjoy the trophy if you won it playing that way? Of course I fucking would. It's a trophy, right? Like for me it's about winning, right? That's why I'm not against. I don't like it, but I'm not against employing such tactics when they can be done, when you have
when
players
they lead to success,
right? Yeah,
there's many ways to skin a cat.
Would you enjoy being Man City in a final and sticking one on Pep? Nah, not
not for me, man.
Do you know what though? There's many ways to skin a cat. There's no wrong tactics, man. There's only it's always the right tactic if it leads you to glory. All right. I've never heard of a wrong tactic.
Exactly.
That if it leads you to glory, then it was a bloody right one. And there's not everybody can play the Pep Guardiola way. Not everybody has the luxury of player IQ, quality, technical levels.
I think Pep's a genius, man. I think he's just on another level to everyone.
Not everybody can
better
play
than
that tactic.
He's better than Fergie for me, man. He really is.
The quality of players that he has at his disposal, the player IQ level that he must have at his disposal to deploy those tactics exactly like he wants them, it is levels. Not everybody has that at their disposal. So they deploy whatever.
Everyone criticised Pep. Everyone criticised Pep.
By the way, this is not an Arsenal away scarf. I've been here. This is not blue and yellow. This is purple and gold. I don't know what colour it comes across on your screen.
You Rams in disguise. Oh,
But this
you
is a
Ramsey,
purple and
this
gold
guy.
till the bloody club is sold. This is what this is. So I don't know where
You
Arsenal
know what?
Away
Let
is
me
coming
let me
to
put
it.
it at the bottom. Hold on. All right, it's at the bottom of the screen now, so no one can get confused. Look, people criticize Pep Guardiola by saying, "Oh, but if he never had Messi, look when he went to Bayern Munich,
I think
he never had Messi. He could." Let me tell you something.
poor.
He has just won 4 out of the last 5 Premier League titles. He's won what 5 Carabao Cups in a row. He's in the FA Cup
He's going to do
final.
the treble,
He's
man.
just won the league again. He could win the Champions. If he does for me. If he does the treble, not even the Champions League, the treble, even a double, including the Champions League, right? If he does it at Man City without Messi, I'm sorry, he's got to be the GOAT.
Yeah.
He's got to be right there with Ancelotti. He's got to be there with Ancelotti.
I have
surely,
to say this.
because it is
That
unbelievable.
that
Because
Barcelona,
they don't
that
spend
Barcelona
crazy
wasn't
money as
just
well. They
Messi,
spend money
though.
wisely. They spend money wisely, Man
I have
City.
to say that. That Barcelona wasn't just Messi, though. There's that little player in
Yeah,
midfield called Xavi. The
I
other little
know.
player
The
called
criticism
Iniesta.
was Messi though, because he was the best player in the world. The criticism
Come
was,
on, man.
what would you have
They
done
had
it
a little
without
bit
Messi?
more about them. Eto, Ronaldinho. You know, I don't want to.
Yeah, but Messi scored in every
like,
final practically. He turned up in all the games. He
okay,
turned up
but
as
they
a
had
big game player.
Busquets,
That, I
Puyol.
agree, but that's the criticism of Barcelona. Of
yes,
Pep.
but
So if he,
but
you know,
One of
it's
the greatest Barcelona ever to live. One of the greatest
for
Barcelona.
me.
yeah.
For me, it's never about a single player, right? Like from my experience, I watched a lot of Bayern as a Polish guy, right? I watched Lewandowski. I watched Bayern play, right? And then I watched our national team. Lewandowski is an absolutely like brilliant striker, but when you put this guy into our national team, being coached by some random Polish coach, right? That would never ever be at the level that Bayern Munich coach is, right?
Yeah.
The guy sometimes went missing unless we were playing San Marino or Andorra, with all due respect to those teams, right? So listen, players are tools for the manager to use,
Never
right?
read that.
Where you
Never
have
read.
better tools, like of course you are gonna, if you are intelligent, if you know your craft, right, you are going to use those tools. But for me, it's like saying that Pep is a fraud because he had Messi in the Barcelona side. Like that's such an easy narrative to spin, right? Is Klopp a fraud because he had Salah, right? Is, I don't know, Conte a fraud because he has Hazard? Is, I don't know, someone else a fraud because they had Vini Jr. or Benzema or whatever, right? It's not only about that. You have to use the tools properly, right? That you are given. You have to set up the tactic properly. It's like,
Yeah, but Michael, by the way, big up to everybody in the panel.
Why are you wearing red? That's the first question I'm going to ask.
it's a Croatian.
It's a
Croatian
Croatia
shirt, right?
kit.
Yeah.
Why are you
Croatian
wearing a
kit.
Croatia kit? You celebrating Perisic Day?
Bro, come on, man. I can't wear a Croatia kit.
Well, to be fair, Danny's a bit slow, like Perisic, so it's all right.
To be
You
fair,
know
I'm
what?
gonna be wearing something a lot worse tomorrow.
You look a little bit like him. You look like that. You look like Perisic's grandson.
You're not the first person who's told me that, Iggy. You're not the first person who's told me that.
You got the hair.
Iggy, I don't know if you've been looking. I don't know if you've been looking in the group chat, but I'm gonna be wearing something a lot worse tomorrow.
What are you doing
So,
tomorrow?
I lost a bet, and I'm gonna be wearing a Chelsea kit tomorrow.
Oh no!
What kit?
No,
What kit?
Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Get him off.
No. Dan.
I don't want
Win him off.
Thanks for coming on, mate. Cheers.
This guy, my
What
God.
the fuck? Dan, what are you doing, man?
I can't do anything. I lost a bet.
No, you can. Don't do it.
You're going to wear it
Yeah,
on the
don't
day
do
that
that
they play
bet.
Man City.
Technically,
so
you're not at
supporting
the age.
Arsenal.
You're not at the age to be man enough about your bets. You can still play the kid card. You can still play it.
Yeah.
Don't
Play
do it.
Bro,
Because
bro,
Danny,
no,
think
I
about
can't do
it. Think about it, Dan. By you wearing a Chelsea kit, you're indirectly supporting Arsenal because you're going to have to cheer them on against Man City. And by cheering them on against Man City, you're indirectly supporting Arsenal in doing so. So
Bro,
you are
even if Chelsea pull off the maddest miracle and beat Man City, no, even if Chelsea pull off the maddest miracle and beat Man City, they're not gonna win the league. The league's already done. But I just want to touch up on what Michael was saying on Pep Guardiola. Yes,
Big up, man.
I don't think on that one player being on Barcelona makes Pep Guardiola a fraud. But what I would like to say is that Pep Guardiola has never done what Mourinho has done at Porto. Or like those
of course
things
they
that are unexpected. He's done it with great players, and his tactics are phenomenal. I just want to see him with the worst side. Like a lot of people have been telling me, if we bring in Pep Guardiola, we win trophies. Mate, you think we're gonna win trophies playing the ball out of the back with Eric Dyer? Are you mad? Like things like that. Like you need good players to play with a good system. Without good players and a good system, the system's gonna be bad. That's literally the bottom line. But give him a credit. Give him his credit. He is a great tactician. There's no doubt
Dan,
about
can I
that.
ask you a question on that? Can I ask you a question on that?
Yeah.
How many other clubs, if they really wanted at the time, before Man City went in, could have signed Nathan Ake or Akanji?
Oh,
Everyone
quite
in
a
the
lot of
Premier
clubs,
League.
yeah.
Right. Why didn't they?
I suppose there was a few teams that were in for him. I remember Chelsea were in for Ake, no?
But anyone could have bought these players. It's not like Jack Grealish, 100 million. Maybe one or two clubs in the league can do that, right? But when you look at some of the players Man City buy, anyone could have bought them. We've got to put some respect on Pep's name, man. He deserves respect.
Nah,
Yeah.
man, listen.
Any
Guardiola,
manager
De
in the
Bruyne,
league
De
could buy Haaland.
Bruyne,
Yeah, I
Chelsea
was about to
reject,
say
in the
De
league could
Bruyne.
buy Haaland.
Chelsea reject.
Chelsea reject.
Anybody in the league could buy Haaland.
No,
60 million pounds. 60 million pounds. I think 5 or 6 clubs could buy him.
No.
I mean,
That's what they got him for.
They can offer 60 million, but Haaland actually wanting to go to that club is a completely different story.
Yeah, but Haaland wants to go to that club because of what Pep did, right?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
He knew that.
So
he
Pep
knew,
has attracted them, Dan. That's
he
what Michael's
knew,
saying.
Of course.
Look how much
Pep's
money
attracted them.
He knew that Man
Pep
City
Guardiola's
were
first
looking
year,
for a
look how much money
striker.
Pep Guardiola spent. Still, you're the one that repeats this every single time when you bring up the debates about Conte. How much money did Pep Guardiola spend after that first season where they finished fourth?
My argument is any manager at any club, if they're going to win a league title, win like real trophies, you've got to get them the players they need for their system. That was my argument. We didn't do that for Conte. In fact, we've done that for nobody.
I agree with you. Yeah,
I always said, well, I haven't always said, but I have said probably for the past couple of years, it's not how much you spend, it's how you spend it. And I think Man City spend their money brilliantly. And do you know what, Dan?
100 million on 2 fullbacks.
Arsenal are using this excuse at the moment where their fans who refuse to accept the word bottle job, because that's what they are, and it hurts to admit it, they can't own it. They're saying things like, we were up against Man City. How can we compete with that machine? Is Man City the reason you drew at home against the team that got relegated, Southampton? How can you blame Man City for that result? That's part of the reason.
Liverpool, Brighton.
Still, like
2-0 up at West Ham. 2-0 up at West Ham. You've missed a penalty as well. Now, Man City, in those moments, the Southamptons, the West Hams, they don't do that. Because Pep has installed the culture and the mentality in that squad.
The whole Arsenal thing is just so laughable for me, right? It would be maybe a different conversation if they were going like toe to toe, always at each other's throats, 1 point separating them or whatever, right? They had an 8-point fucking lead at one moment, right? With City had one game in hand, so let's say it's 5 points, right? They bottled it, as you said, against Southampton at home. I was in England watching that game. I was actually in Great Britain watching that Southampton game in a pub in Weymouth on the south coast of England, right? Everyone there was an Arsenal fan. It was the most enjoyable. Sorry?
You were in my
It
home.
was in their home. South London.
No, South London, south coast of England, right? I was near Bournemouth, but whatever, that doesn't matter, right? The point is, if they were going toe to toe, and those 2 games that they lost against City mattered, right? And City won the league by 2 points because of those 2 matches that they won against them, right? That's a different talk. It would still be a bottle job, but that's a different conversation, right? The issue is that they had. It didn't matter that they lost twice to City. They could have lost twice to City and still won the league, and they didn't because they drew with Southampton, drew with Liverpool, drew with West Ham, and lost to Brighton. Right? That's it. That's the end of the conversation.
Talking about Arsenal. There's a few Arsenal fans in the chat that are getting a little bit rattled. Can you
bro, keep talking about them. They're bottle job. Iggy.
But they bottled
They
it,
don't
right?
want you to talk about Arsenal. They want to hear about Tottenham.
They bottled it. Like they can, scream and shout as much as they want. But
how insecure they are about their own team.
Marcus, spot on. George Graham's Arsenal teams played brilliant football. They won silverware. I watched them win a league up at Anfield. I
They
watched them win an
made
FA Cup,
They
Carabao
made a
Cup.
song
I watched
about
them
it.
win
1-0 to
I
the
watched them win
Arsenal.
European trophy, which they never do.
Like boys, you know history of English football better, right? But I think one of the sides, Liverpool sides in the 80s, did the same thing, right? They were winning matches 1-0 every single match. Liverpool or Everton. I know I've heard one on.
I think it was
like,
Everton
people
because they
talking
won the
about-
league in '85.
Yeah.
The year Spurs should have won it, and we bottled that one as well.
Yeah, and
We
and the
know
history.
bottlers when we see them.
Yeah,
And
we
if,
know
Right,
them.
right.
if Spurs fans are telling you that Arsenal
Professionals.
bottled it, if Spurs fans are telling you, Arsenal fans, that you bottled it, believe it because it's coming from the Kings. of Bottle
Stel.
No, you can't tell me
Yes,
they're bigger
Yes.
bottlers. You can't tell me.
You
that.
brought a comment,
It's true.
like
It's true though.
Bledsoe or something about Ancelotti at Everton. Ancelotti was at Everton for 1 year, and he finished 7th with Everton. That's not
now
doing
look,
like
now they're
7th
getting
or
relegated.
8th,
Great
right?
manager, man. He's a
Now
great
they are
man-
getting
and-
relegated. That's
Yeah.
the first thing, right? And
and
imagine
it's
if
not that
Ancelotti
much
actually
different squad, is it? It's not that much different than the squad that they had.
And he got
imagine
back.
if Ancelotti got given money.
How can you
More
call
money
out
to
Ancelotti,
rebuild
man?
the squad,
How
right?
can you call out Ancelotti? He literally won the Champions League last season.
Mate,
How
I
you
think-
calling-
for me, he still remains.
Well, I hate him right
the
now
GOAT.
because he absolutely made me look like a fool.
No, Dan,
Mate,
you
for
made
me, he's
yourself
the best.
look like a fool.
No, you made
It was
yourself
so
look like a
obvious
fool.
City
I
are going
heard
to
what
win,
you
mate.
said, and I thought, how are you gonna go and make a statement like that with this Man City side?
Man City 3-0
Nah.
up, and he's like, "Yeah, Real Madrid are going to come back. You wait and see."
And
Yo,
do you know
chill.
what I loved about that?
You're forgetting
that
it's
game?
Real Madrid. You're forgetting it's Real Madrid. Like,
Yeah,
I've been-
Okay,
you
but
are-
this is Man City now.
Man
This
City
was last year,
dominated
This
them,
is,
man.
you're saying it
Man
like Man City
City
are
owned
Champions
them.
League killers. You're
But
telling
do
me
you know
like,
what I
you're
love,
saying it like
Dan?
that Man City are Champions League killers. How many Champions Leagues have Man City won?
When you're
Dua
watching
Lipa
the
has
game,
the same
I
like,
amount of
get it,
Champions
man,
League
but-
final performances as Manchester City. You're telling me like they've got some type
Dan,
of
Man, we're
when you
talking
watch
about
the
that one
game,
game. We're talking about that one
when you're
game that
watching
Man
the
City
game, mate.
absolutely
I'm
pulled
talking about
down
the Champions
Real
League. I'm
Madrid's
talking about
Modric,
Real Madrid. They are a
Modric,
statement in the
Modric,
Premier League, in the Champions League.
Modric, Cruz, those players really looked like old men against Man City
Yeah.
the other night. They really did. You could really
Iggy.
see it. It was
It's
one
because they
game
are
too
old
many.
men.
Man. And do you know what? Ancelotti, the way he dealt with that post-match comments, the post-match interview was just genius. It was like, okay, it does happen. Not you cannot make finals all the time. You cannot win all the time. Real Madrid lost to a semi-final to a great side. There's no shame on that. We still have had a great season in the Champions League. But he was so class in the way that he dealt with it. And do you know what? For me, to this day, and Pep is a brilliant coach, but a brilliant manager. He's quit. When he comes to the end of his career, we're gonna all realize just how good he was, because he changed the way football was played. He invented that style of play, really and truly. He took it to a next generation and gave us fantastic football for us all to see. But for me, Ancelotti still remains the greatest. of all
Actually,
time.
Spurs invented that football half a
Ancelotti?
row. We just did nothing with it.
For me, yeah. For me. Listen,
take
you're
Ancelotti
talking,
over-
We did it
Danny,
50s
you're
and
talking
60s,
like
and
that
then we gave up.
because you don't know
Then we stopped.
Ancelotti's career. As a player and as a manager,
Okay.
he's carried on the
But as a
European
player and a
Cup.
manager, it's Sir
He
Alex
won
Ferguson.
Champions Leagues as a player and as a manager. He's honest. Go and look at his honest.
Dan,
He's
in the
won everywhere.
90s, arguably the Italian league was probably the best in the world, and the Italian teams won European trophies. They dominated. They were like, it was a top league.
I'm not saying nothing about him as a player.
Ancelotti was one of the kings during that era. Kings.
I'm not talking about him as a player. I'm talking about him as a manager. The best manager of all time is Sir Alex.
No, I'm talking about
Ferguson.
manager, Dan. I'm talking about manager.
Who? Alex Ferguson
Yeah.
in world football. Or
He's
just
one of the
in
greatest. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
one of them. He's one of them. He's not.
Nah,
Is he the
listen.
GOAT? I don't know.
For me,
I think he's the GOAT, personally.
He only won 2 European trophy, the
for
Champions League.
me,
Right?
the greatest.
No, he won 3.
I don't know. I don't know how you measure it. Actually, I don't know how
Don't
you
forget,
measure it.
listen, the guy won everywhere.
Ancelotti's fault.
Ancelotti won in every country, 5
Yeah.
different countries. 5
yeah, and 5 different leagues, 5 top leagues.
5 different leagues, man.
Yeah, it's
As a
true.
manager.
Yeah.
There's no
The
fucking
best-
about. Go and
yeah, the best
look
manager-
at.
There's no doubt that he's a good manager, but the way that Sir Alex Ferguson dominated England is just...
That's because there's no
England.
competition other than Arsenal.
England.
Yeah,
Well,
there was only Arsenal.
And then when
right?
Arsenal
Look
faded
at
off,
Europe.
Chelsea was the only competition. Now, would
No.
Alex Ferguson be able to deal with the teams now? The Klopps and the Peps? I don't know.
That was
I
the
don't
uprising.
know.
Man
Pep is
City.
doing Pep is doing what Sir Alex was doing.
You know what?
basically,
You know
right?
what? I'm gonna be cautious on what I'm saying because I weren't even alive back then.
That's the
So-
problem.
Now
That's the
you've
problem.
realised.
I'm gonna
Now
shut
you've
up.
realised.
That's
I'm
the
gonna shut
problem.
up and I'm gonna stop judging managers on what I've seen on TikTok.
You're dismissing
And I'm only
everything
gonna talk
they did
about
before you
TikTok.
leave.
And I'm only gonna talk about football that I've seen with my
TikTok.
eyes. No, like the TikTok clips.
You can come
That's
to
all
the
I
in
can
my
see. That's literally all I can
okay.
see. I can't just
If
get a
Dan,
time
if you
machine and
say
go backwards in time.
in that conversation, if you said in my lifetime, I think this is the best. Then when we could say,
Yeah,
okay,
but sir, then
you're
it wouldn't make
15
sense
years
because
old, I get it, man. You
then
do
it
know
wouldn't make
Ancelotti.
sense, Iggy. Then it wouldn't make sense because I haven't seen Sir Alex Ferguson in my lifetime.
But here
So
you are saying
so
he was the
so-
best ever.
No, I'm talking off of numbers. I'm talking off of his Premier League domination. When you bring up the point of like no other team, I wasn't alive back then watching the Premier League regularly, so I'd have to. I can't comment as much as you. I want to listen to your
Dan,
opinion
Dan,
since you
Dan,
guys were
rather than
watching football
okay,
back
let me
then.
let me put you this way. Oh, by the way, thank you, Wolves F1 for your super sticker. Dan, then rather than looking at which manager was the longest in charge of one team in the Premier League, why not look at all managers and how many league titles they've won in their lifetime, regardless which leagues they were in? Because if you do that, suddenly there's a lot of top managers out there, right? Because you're just looking at you're only looking at Premier League.
But it's
You
a
need
lot
to have
harder. It's a
context
lot
with
harder
all
to
of it.
do it. It's a lot harder to stay at one club for a long period of time and dominate.
No, it's harder to do it in multiple countries, different languages,
No.
different cultures, different. Dan, come on.
It's easy.
You
if
know
you're
how easy it
winning.
is to lose the dressing room. One bad
What?
season, you lose the players.
Yeah, but he
and you're done.
replenished the team. Yeah, but he kept
Yeah,
changing his team. Every
the
3-4 years he
figure Sir
changed
Alex
it.
was
That's
if
also
Sir Alex
difficult as
lost
well
the
when you
dressing
got
Hang
new
on,
people
what's this
coming into the
comment
dressing room.
about, by the way?
What?
What's
Which
this
one?
comment about? The one who just come back one. Looks golden
It's golden
purple to me.
purple
Shoot
to
your eyes
me.
out.
So your eyes out.
It's not me that needs to sort out. There's people in the chat that are saying this looks like an old Arsenal scarf,
David Suka.
blue and yellow, and I'm saying it's purple and gold.
Do you know what? Actually, the
It is
question
He's telling the
was,
chat to
what do
suck
we
our
think?
eye.
What do we think of Arnie Slot coming to Spurs? And we're talking about Alex Ferguson at Man United, Pep at City.
You know what?
But
Tonight it's a little bit like that. We're kind of going a bit everywhere. But listen,
let's bring it back to Arnie Slot. What do we
Arne
think?
Slot
Listen,
is
he's not the manager yet. It's also again, it's
Yeah.
speculation. It's
Well-
just gossip. What do we
Hey.
think of it though? What do we think of
Apparently,
it?
he'll turn us down and then we won't be interested.
we're gonna get
Possibly.
Brendan Rodgers, guys. I've been saying it all along. We don't have the vision, we don't have the plan or the strategy to get someone like Arne Slot. If
Who
we
would
had
you
those
pick, Iggy?
three-
Brendan Rodgers or Arnie Slot? Because Brendan
I-
Rodgers, he nearly won the league with Liverpool, nearly, and he's won the
Yeah.
FA Cup with Leicester, so he's got Premier League experience. However, he is almost getting Leicester relegated, but some might say it's because of
Well, there's
injuries.
He's no
issues.
But
longer at
fans
the
like
job, right?
There's
fans
issues.
like
It's
Wayne
also because he
Holland
didn't
can't
get-
stand him.
He didn't
Fans
get
like
back
Wayne
this
Holland.
season. He
Yeah,
didn't get
that
back
needs
this
to be
season. I wrote his
relegated.
transfer window.
Yeah, he's got. Listen, you know what he's like. After the third year, he goes to pot. And I
Slot or
think that's-
Rodgers? Slot or
I
Rodgers?
would choose Slot because of what he's achieving. Is that, but you need vision, you need strategy, and you need all the things that we know that Tottenham don't have. So I don't know. I honestly don't know. Given we've been speaking about Jose Mourinho for half of the night, we've mentioned Conte as well. I don't know how Slot can come and succeed where these guys are fouled because of those things lacking at our club that I just mentioned. I don't know. Are we going to burn another manager out? Because Slot's in a good moment right now. So I think he needs to pick his next club carefully to continue his progress and for what's good for his career. I don't know if Tottenham is good for his career. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't. Brendan Rodgers, on the other hand, he's in the mud right now. So he would take Tottenham's job
Yeah, you're
because
right.
he can restart his career. He can't do any worse because if he fails at Spurs, it can't be any worse than what he's done at Leicester. So he's got more to gain by taking Spurs' job. And I feel like the way that we are as a club, we will give someone like Rodgers because he will bring the entertaining factor. And if nothing else, it gives us the bounce, which that in 2-3 years' time he'll piss off and we'll do the whole thing all over again with Spurs. I just don't think that we have the vision or the mindset or to grow with Slot. if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm making any sense with you guys about this.
Yeah,
I
I
just,
get you.
I just feel like if our dynamics at a club were different, I think Arne Slot would actually succeed and bring Spurs into the next, next generation. I don't know, man. I just don't see it as a good fit. More so for Slot than Tottenham.
Yes, what I was saying earlier, though, Iggy, isn't it? That I see it's an opportunity for Slot and the club to grow together, because we are at that point where we are no longer looking at securing our top 4 place.
Yeah.
We're no longer looking at building for a Champions League campaign. We've been plummeting down the table. We're playing awful football on a regular basis and getting hammered by anybody that's half decent. So I think, you could look at it at Rodgers. Yeah, he would steady the boat. We'd play, like you said, at least we'd get playing some football again.
Yeah.
That'll be something. But
I just don't see the club growing, man, with the next manager. Not these guys. I just don't see
I
it.
don't see why Slot would want to come into Tottenham.
Kuva, are you concerned that the club are saying that they're not appointing a manager until they appoint a football director first? Is this not a bit of an issue? Should we not be appointing a manager to come in, look at the players, analyse what he's up against, analyse what he can work with, understand what's coming back to the club, figure out how that fits into his system, look at the players he wants to keep? Basically, what Chelsea have just done with Poch. Get him in a bit early and analyse so we can plan. Should we not be doing that rather than fluffing about with a football director, which we don't know what they do, because we've got a football chief officer as well now. So,
yeah, I think if you're looking at long term, it would make sense to get a football director of football in first, because you would be looking at, the next 20, 25, 30 years, how you want this club to perform, how you want it to play, the style, the ethos, get everything in place. And then you're going to have to build it slowly over time. And that's going to start with chairman and his director of football basically getting together and hopefully saying, you're the chairman, sign the checks, I'm the director of football, you had given me the reins to put this thing together. I'll get the staff in, I need to do that. And we're going to have this long-term plan. We want like Newcastle did, we want the league in 10 years. We want to win domestic trophies in the meantime. Something along those lines, and we're going to be playing this expansive, attacking, passing football, ball on the deck. I'd love to hear all of that. You do need to get the infrastructure in place first. You've got to start with the director of football. Otherwise, if you do it the other way round with the manager coming in first, what happens when he goes? It's suddenly lost again. Unless you've somehow managed to get a director of football that coincides with all that. I think you've got to keep things steady at the top first.
Let me respin it.
Yeah.
All right, let me respin it. Do we need to get a director of football in place yesterday? Because the longer we're dragging this out, managers slowly could end up elsewhere, and we're going to end up missing opportunities, or managers are thinking, do you know what? You don't know what you're doing here. You're still fluffing around with that. That's not for me. Are we missing opportunities because this is taking too long?
It's a bit like the season where we sacked Mourinho.
Mate, it's a joke we didn't have a replacement ready when we knew what's going to happen with Paratici, right? You are absolutely right. We should have appointed the director of football 1 month ago. It's a joke that we are still fluffing about with it, right? But I echo what Kuva said, right? The most logical thing for me would be to appoint the director of football first, because when you look at it, like, if we appointed the manager first, right? Let's say it's Arne Slot, and then we started looking for a director of football that likes the same football as Arne Slot plays, right? And can bring players for his system, whatever, right? But it doesn't work with Arne Slot. We've been of Arne Slot, and then we appoint a guy who doesn't see eye to eye with the director of football. Then it's a bad decision, right? But if you appoint director of football first, and that director of football chooses Arne Slot and says, I can work with this guy, right? Then like the same scenario can happen, but you are building towards that director of football's vision. If you like, I don't know if I explained it like correctly, but I think that as Kuva said, you need to start from the top, and like Scott Mann, whatever the fuck he's doing, I don't know, right? But in a normal world, director of football is the guy responsible for seeing how your club is going to look like long term, right? So I think we should start with that. This guy comes, establishes a plan, whatever. Again, in an ideal world, right? It probably won't work like that in Tottenham, right? But in an ideal world, he comes, establishes a plan, appoints Arne Slot, and then works with him, right? As I said, it probably should have happened like a month ago, the director of football thing. And I understand Arne Slot wouldn't come 1 month ago because he had a league to win with at Feyenoord, right? But right now, if the director of football was here already for like 1 month and a half, and he has his own eyes, like he can see that Dyer is not good enough. He already knows that you need to replace the center back, right? He can start maybe doing some planning in the to have quick talks with players for that new manager, right? That's the way I see it. So I think it's actually a good decision to appoint the director first. It's whether it happens like in the next week or two, not in fucking 2 months, right? Because that's the more likely scenario.
It's
Yeah,
just dragging on, I feel, and we're just going to end up
It's a
not
bit-
getting a slot.
it's a bit like our club. We can never get the things done rightly. It really doesn't surprise me at all. I don't know if it surprised any of you that this situation has become into this mess.
No, I'm not.
And I
completely not
see it
surprised.
becoming. I said it before, and I'll say it again. I see it becoming that season where we sacked Mourinho and we appointed Nuno, where we waited to get in Paratici, and then we brought in Nuno after we had tried to get 19 different managers. I think we're going to miss opportunities with big managers. I don't even think Slot is going to be coming. There's going to be other managers that are going to turn us down, and we're going to get some mediocre manager like Nuno because we've taken this situation way too long. I mean, honestly, I don't know how anybody could be surprised of how we've handled this situation. I honestly believe we're going to get Rodgers. I really do believe we're going to get Rodgers.
How would you lot feel if we got Rodgers?
Underwhelmed.
Not surprised.
I'll be okay with it for a season or two, just to get us back playing some football. Not going to win anything with him, obviously, but it's better than what we're doing, which is nothing at the moment. I do, like Iggy said earlier, there were times when Rodgers nearly won the league with Liverpool. They had a fantastic side there. They were playing great football. Leicester were doing the same thing for a while. He's got a habit of just going off the boil and then dragging the club down with him, but we wouldn't need him that long. Like I said, we need that. For me, I think we need that Martin Yole period where, just take stock of what we got.
Make it fun again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think he could do that. Nothing special. Obviously not anything special. I think he's kind of tainted with what's happened now. Being at a few clubs where he just goes off the boil and it just all falls away after a while. Really questionable some of the stuff he said in some of his press conferences with Leicester. But like I said, for a season and a half, something might be all right for us.
How do you think the majority of fans will take it? Do you think the atmosphere at the ground will improve? Do you think we'll get on the managers back and the team a lot quicker if there's a result that goes wrong, 2 or 3 bad games? Maybe finally Slot was to come in and there was a bit of a stutter. Fans would be like, no, it's part of it's part of the journey. Just relax. Whereas if it's Brendan Rodgers, be like, no, we're not having this. Look what he done to Leicester. Do you think the fans will have the tolerance for a year or two, Coover, if there's a bit of a wobble?
Yeah, I think
or anyone else.
Rodgers coming in, I think he'll be under pressure immediately. I think people will be pointing at this last season with Leicester. You can't ignore it. That was terrible. Leicester were playing some awful stuff, forgotten how to defend. Actually, yeah, that does suit us, doesn't it?
I think this is the point. I think Graham's sitting down on the head.
Match made in heaven. Match made in heaven.
This was
this
my
common
point,
facts.
Graham, earlier on. Does it matter? You're right. Does it matter with these owners because they're doomed? That was my point. I was trying to get at in regards to Arne Slot. The guy is clearly on the rise. He's a young manager, still very much in his 40s. So he's a guy on the rise, and I just don't know if we offer the right ambience. I think more so, it's not the club's not good enough, as in the Spurs and the infrastructure. I just don't know if this is the next move that's best for his career. I think it's good for him to come in the Premier League to try to bring his product, so to speak, and do it in the Premier League. Sure, I think it'd be the right move. And any other time, I would say, yeah, Tottenham would be an absolutely good move. But if there isn't a willingness to get together and grow together and become this powerful thing in 2-3 years' time, I'm not saying win the league. I'm saying to be at that certainly a better level than what we are at the moment.
It's
It has to be a marriage, right? And I think we know what he will be bringing to Tottenham, but what we at Tottenham doing to help him succeed at our club, and that's where I think it's doomed. In that part,
So, Michael, so just 1 second. Scott and Carlo in the chat, can you both just let it go? Just let it go. Whatever it is, let it be, please. Thank you. Yeah, go on, Michael.
Yeah, so for me, in maybe a bit of an idealistic world, I think Spurs are the best club for a manager like Slot in a current situation we are in. Again, in an idealistic world where you assume that we give the guy time and we are, as a fan base, are patient, right? The issue is that we are the most impatient fan base in the league, probably, and that's our ownership tends to fuck up everything that they touch, right? But if you put those things aside, I think like we are in that. I would put us in that bracket, kind of below like United, City, Chelsea, Liverpool, right? The bottom of the top picks or the top of the middle pack, right? We are a better club, better infrastructure, more money than Aston Villa, than Everton, than Wolves, than Brighton, than Brentford, right? All those clubs that are fighting for like the top of the mid bunch, right? We are way better than those clubs, right? In terms of like the possibilities that are given to a manager. So in that case, I think we are the best club for a manager like Arne Slot, right? The issue is that we all know how it's going to end up. We are going to appoint him. Everything is going to be rosy. Daniel Levy will probably give a speech again, saying how we brought DNA back together and we will sign, some unknown 33-year-old, Polish wonder kid or whatever, right? And it will end up like it always does, right? But in an ideal world, I actually think we are the best move for a guy like Arne Slot, right? Because Feyenoord is not a small club, right? From Feyenoord, maybe like between Feyenoord and us, there are clubs like Leverkusen, maybe, Athletic Bilbao, I don't know, those Villarreal, Lyon, Olympique Marseille, I would say that those are the clubs that are between, like, if you were to group clubs into like those packs of like how well established financially they are, how big they are, etc., 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 right? So for me, it's not like that big of a jump from Feyenoord to Tottenham. That's how I see it, right? I actually think we are a good career choice for a guy like him.
Michael, here's the thing though.
Dan,
Like,
1 second.
you always
Just say thank you to Gaguma for her super chat. Big up panel. Love Friday Night Live. We love you too, Gaguma. And also, Let's Talk Spurs. Big up to you. Don't be surprised if we get Nagelsmann. I think we will all be surprised if we get Nagelsmann. But it is possible. He hasn't got a job. So
never rule anything out. Did we see Conte coming? No.
No, exactly.
No, but we don't want him. We don't want him.
Mason in.
Mason. No, you know the funniest part? The delusional fans that think that Ryan Mason has done a good job. Like, there's genuine fans that are sitting there like, look, I'm mad we didn't get Nagelsmann, but Mason's done a good job. Give him mate, is a good job winning 1 game in 4.
Let's see what they say if he gets the job full time. Then let's see what they say then when they're asked to pay £2,000 for a season ticket, knowing that Mason's going to be the gaffer. Let's see what happens.
I'll pay it. Still, they'll pay it. They'll pay it. They always do.
Listen, question for everyone. What's your question? In fact, it's not a question that I per se asked. It's one I saw earlier. Can we please just talk about how tomorrow may be the last time we ever see Harry Kane play for us at home? It's true, isn't it?
He's not leaving.
How do you know?
Because I've been supporting Tottenham too long, watching Harry Kane for too long. We've had worse seasons. And he's still stuck with us.
His contract ends in 12 months' time, Dan.
Yeah, 12 months.
So why is he staying?
I think he'll stay. He'll run out his contract. And at the end of
You
the
think
contract,
Levy
he'll
will
be-
let him run down a contract and let £100 million player go for free?
Yeah,
Daniel Levy.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
he could.
Kuba, you agree?
Yeah, he will.
Go on then.
No.
Let's hear this. This is
He
interesting.
is so desperate to hang on to Harry Kane that he would do that. I mean, did you see what he did when he wanted to go to City? Like, he'll do anything to keep Harry Kane. And not only that, what he brings in shirt sales as well. You also have to
That's the
remember,
most
Harry Kane
important
for
thing.
shirt sales is insane. He won't let him go. No chance. He will make him run down his contract with handcuffs in his arms
Mhm.
and put him in a basement that he can't get out of White Hart Lane until his contract is done. Trust me.
I think it's as simple as it's kicking the can down the road, isn't it? It's another year where he doesn't have to deal with the monumental task of trying to replace him, because it's clearly not going to be Richarlison, is it?
Yeah, it's a bit like when you owe people money. When you owe
Well, you
someone
never
money,
know. You never know, right?
it's like when you owe
Yeah.
someone money. When you owe someone money, and every time you see them, they're like, "Hey, where's my money?" And you're like, "I'll have it for you next time." It's a bit like that. Where every time that this man wants to leave, Levy's just kicking down kicking the can down the road, pushing the problems back another year.
And it makes sense for Kane to do it as well, because obviously clubs put off like City for that huge price tag put on him. On a free, he can have a massive signing on bonus.
Yeah.
It's useful for him. In the meantime, he's got a young family, not extra year there. Harry Kane's not the sort of player that relies on acceleration and lightning pace. He's got a career that can last a good few years yet. So
Also,
he can take his time.
I think one point that's maybe not a common one, but I actually think is really important for him personally. His wife is pregnant right now, right?
Mm.
I think she will be like in her 6th, 7th month of pregnancy in the summer.
Again,
I actually, yeah,
he shoots on and he scores on and off the field.
mate, he's setting up his own youth academy for
making his own
Tottenham,
little
right?
trophies.
Yeah. Like
Still
fourth
isn't.
kid on the way, right? But as funny as it sounds, I actually think it's really important for him. I think just because of personal reasons, he doesn't need to move this summer, right? As Danny said, he can safely run down his contract, play one more year for Tottenham, right? I think it's also a good PR move for Levy. It's better than selling him, in my opinion. I think if with all the negative PR that is going on right now around Tottenham, if Levy on top of that sold Harry Kane to Manchester United and God save him to Chelsea, because that's like the second club that is rumored, right? If he sold Kane to Chelsea, it's finished, mate. Like, I don't know what else would it take for everyone in this. I know we are saying like it has to be the last straw, it has to be the last call, last chance, whatever, right? But if he sold Harry Kane to Chelsea, that a long day for that Mr. Levy, right? So I just think he will stay for one more year and probably leave on a free. I think it's a better solution for Daniel Levy. I know he likes to penny pinch and get every single penny that he can out of this club, and giving up Kane and 80 million or whatever, how much he would get for him will hurt him. But I think just for his own sake, for the sake of still being a chairman, right, or alive, I think he will allow Kane to live on a free.
Yes, yeah, that's that too.
I don't know, man. I think I don't know any chairman that would let their most expensive asset go on a free. I think at the end of the day, that's just too much money to walk out the door. Even for Levy, I think the damage it would do, yes, in terms of fans being upset, resentment. But I don't know, man. He's an accountant. He's still an
You think this
accountant.
window he's gone? You think this window he's gone?
I think if he doesn't sign you, yeah, I do. Listen, is Arne Slot going to convince him to stay? Probably not. In fact, do you know what? Let me ask you this question.
He'll stay in the Prem.
Do you think that we depend so much on Harry Kane that it hinders other players in the team, that we're just so focused on getting the ball to Kane, that there's an argument? I'm not saying I agree. Do you think there's an
No.
argument to say maybe now is the best time to sell him and reinvest the money? Not that I confidently say we're going to reinvest it properly, but isn't this kind of what Liverpool did with Coutinho? Are we at that kind of moment with Kane?
I think Kane's presence shields a lot of players from responsibilities and accountability for their own performances.
If we had a
That's what I think.
functional football club, I would honestly say sell Kane.
Yeah, if we are functional,
Wait. 100 likes for 300 people watching. 100, is that right? Come on, guys.
Yeah.
We need to address this. Come on.
I've done this on streams before, but if you're watching this and you haven't hit like yet, go. Get out. Go on. Hey.
On your bike, chop.
and Tottenham Away.
By the way, still, we have
use
to talk about
Planet.
Lucas Moura's video as well. We have to
Yeah, we
mention
will.
it.
He's
I just
gone.
wanted- I
Get
just
to
wanted-
him there, man.
I just wanted to talk about Harry Kane because this could. I'm not saying it is, but it could be his last ever game.
It's
not,
at
of course
home
it
with
could, right.
Spurs.
Tomorrow.
We don't know
You
what's
know what I
going
think
on.
he'll give it away? You know what I think he'll give away? He did this when he wanted to leave before. But at the end of the game, I don't know if he does this but if he goes and he stays there for a long time clapping the fans, at the end of the game, you know it's done. From his side of things. Because then Levy could still hold him hostage, but I still think Harry Kane will want to push for a transfer if he does that. Because I don't think he'll know I'm going to push to leave this club this summer and then after the game not stay there for a long time with the fans.
You know what it's like, right? The media come the summer, the stories start circulating, the rumors start kicking off, and with 1 year left on his contract, you know there's going to be media frenzy. It's going to be
a fucking hellhole.
It's going to dominate. It's going to dominate the transfer window. It's going to dominate the transfer window.
No, we're going to sign Mason on a permanent. He's going to motivate.
And I honestly believe,
to stay at the
guys,
club.
I honestly believe Chelsea are going to come in with a mammoth bid.
No.
Now that Poch is there, I do. I think Chelsea are going to come in.
He's not leaving.
Danny,
balls
they are
deep, poker chips all in. Get me that guy because Poch.
they are
Bro,
going to come.
They've already got
with
financial fair play knocking on their door.
Chelsea,
No,
they'll
they
find a
don't.
way
Give
around
a
it.
shit.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
They'll buy financial.
No,
They'll buy the
Danny,
rule book. They'll rewrite it.
they fucking loophole the shit out of the league.
Yeah, but they loopholed it. They already changed the rules. They can't use that same loophole anymore.
They'll
Yeah,
do
but
what Man
they
City
won't.
does,
Then
and
they
they'll
won't
get
use
the
the
most
loophole right now.
expensive
They will
lawyers
do
in the world.
everything like
They'll
they
pay
should.
the
Black away
fine.
from
Yeah, they
FIFA and the FA. There's so much
They'll pay the
litigation. It's
fine.
taken 5 years to figure out how to win the court case. That's what they'll do.
They'll pay the price.
Yeah,
They'll pay
mate.
the
Like
fine.
they will try to get him if Poch wants. If Poch wants him there, and let's be honest, he will probably want Harry
100%
Kane.
he wants him.
Yeah, so
And
they
am I
will
right in
try to
saying,
get
guys,
him, right?
Am I right in saying as well, is Lukaku on loan? Is he coming back to Chelsea?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
gonna
coming
come
back.
Lukaku and Kane up top.
Oh
I actually think that
I-
would
I
be quite
think-
cheap.
Chelsea are actually going to win the Premier
I
League.
think just Kane.
You know
No,
what?
they won't.
Chelsea should
I
have.
think
done.
Lukaku just coming
whip
back.
it on permanently.
Lukaku just coming back is going to add so much more to the way Pochettino plays. 100%.
I actually think if Lukaku and Kane were playing as a pair up top, it would be quite bad. I think Lukaku is like works extremely well with a mobile, high speed, high octane, high volume player like Lautaro, right? I think Kane and Lukaku are kind of similar. I know Kane is way better than Lukaku, right? But they both want to play with the back towards the goal, shielding the ball, passing it to faster players. I think they would be too similar as a pair up top. Or if you dropped Kane into the midfield, that's a different thing, right? But then it's a question if Kane is his legs are good enough to play in the midfield.
I think if you're going to have quick
Put that shit
runners,
away. Put that shit away.
yeah, I think if you're going to have the runners around them, Kane and Lukaku as target men up the centre could be quite something. If you've got some intelligent players that'll pick up on the layoffs and break the line, that could really work. Especially both of them are good at turning players anyway. But if you really went for it, I could see it working. Certain managers, certain styles, yeah, I know what you mean. They want a kind of specific player for each role. Doesn't always work, but there are certainly ways you could make that work.
Yeah. Of course, of course, right? I think with how Poch plays, If he played the two up top with Kane and Lukaku, I don't think it would work quite well, right? But on Kane himself, right? I think we all agree that he probably will do everything in his power to stay in the Premier League, right? No matter what happens with Spurs. I think the last thing that he would consider is moving abroad. That's the way I look at it, right? So when you look at the Premier League, I think there are 6 clubs that could go in for him. Arsenal
United.
goes like Arsenal, of course not, right? Not happening. City, I maybe on a free in a year. That could happen, right? But not this summer. I don't think so. So it leaves United, Chelsea, Liverpool, although I don't think they would want to go for him because they have to spend like 200 million on their midfield this summer.
Yeah, they won't.
And there is Newcastle. That's like the only other team, right?
Man United? Man United?
Yeah, and I didn't mention Man United. Of course, Man United too, right?
PSG,
So for me,
PSG is the new name.
yeah, but
He's not leaving abroad.
saying, Iggy, right?
They've been saying PSG. They've been saying Bayern. They can say those clubs.
Bayern and PSG.
I
right?
agree with Michael. He'll stay in England. Not only because he wants to keep his family in England, also because he wants to chase that Premier League record.
That shit
He
record,
wants to stay
right?
close to you, Dan.
You
Close
can
to
never
your heart,
tell
mate.
for sure, though, can you? I mean, if a club like, say,
of
Real
course.
Madrid, if a club like Real Madrid comes in, that's a hell of a tempting proposition for any player.
According to you lot, Real Madrid are not a big club, so I don't know what to say.
Who said that? Who said that, man?
Still,
What?
No,
What did I say?
you said that Real Madrid were not big enough to win a semi-final against Man City in the Champions League.
What?
They were not.
I
good
said
enough.
Real Madrid aren't big enough.
Your words.
What are you saying, Stan?
Have you had
No
too
way,
much sugar
Stan
today?
said that.
Have you had
Yeah.
too much sugar?
You said sugar because you were afraid to say something else.
No, because you're a
Because you
kid.
can't do it, mate.
Real Madrid, he's winding me up. Listen, thank you to Jeff Bargy for the super chat. Can't wait till tomorrow, purple and gold. Guys, tomorrow, we haven't spoke about tomorrow. What do we think? Are we going to win, lose, draw? Do we want to win? Are we encouraging a loss to not get the European? We don't want Europa Cup because we don't fancy.
Yeah,
it.
we haven't asked Dan that question. Dan, 2 questions, and answer them quickly.
All right.
Europa or Conference League? Yes or no?
or nothing.
Yeah.
Conference.
I'll take European Cup.
Conference 2, yes.
Conference, yeah.
Second, who do you want your manager? Next manager.
Could care less, man. Mr. Bean can come in. We won't win anything.
All right. Now we can move on to the
Mr. Bean might be able to communicate with some of these players.
The best chance we have of making that trophy, God, that best chance we've got to make in conference is we need to win tomorrow. Really simple. Because I don't know if we're going to do it at Leeds. Leeds are they're in survival mode.
Brighton lost yesterday, right?
Brighton lost 4-1 to Newcastle. Yeah,
know.
thank you, Gaguma, for the super
Brighton,
sticker.
yeah.
All right,
Brighton
I think we'll get Conference League.
Big up, Gaguma. John, let me get up the league table, actually. Let's get up the
We
league
have
table.
to win
Yeah, I
tomorrow.
was about to
guys.
do that. You read my mind still.
We have to win tomorrow.
Well, if you've got it on your computer, Dan, share it, and I'll just put it up.
All right, yeah. That's not
By
that
the
bad of an
way,
idea.
if we lose to Brentford, they will be 1 point behind us.
All right, I shared it. No
Yeah.
chance. Where are they? Where
Well,
Brentford?
Luca Tony suspended
Oh, yeah.
tomorrow.
Luca
So-
Tony played a few years
Sorry,
ago.
Ivan Tony.
Ivan Tony, maybe.
Man said Luca Tony. No.
Luca Tony.
And I've had too much sugar. All right, man.
Dan, could you make this a bit bigger so we can actually see it?
All right, man. I got you. Let me just make the screen zoom in.
There's an outside chance we could finish below Fulham.
Yeah, just do from 4th to I mean, in terms of form, we've won 1 in 5. In terms of
Like-
Brighton, I mean, Liverpool in great form. Liverpool are flying, They're getting results.
Yeah.
7 in a row.
I don't know what
Yeah,
you're talking
they're-
about. We're gonna get top 4. We're gonna make
It's
a
not-
massive.
It's
charge.
mathematically
Yeah, we can't.
impossible, mate.
It's
Yeah, we
impossible
really can't.
mathematically.
We really can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
We're
two
Tottenham Hotspur.
matches,
We defy math.
2
We
matches
can
left,
make
and we are
Europa
9 points behind.
best.
Do you,
No,
do you
we're-
guys think?
We're Spurs.
guys-
We're all about the meth, not the math.
We love the meth. I mean, who? I think Liverpool are away to Aston Villa, aren't they? Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
So
but
Liverpool.
Villa definitely have to play Liverpool still.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they are
tomorrow.
away from-
Liverpool.
No.
Liverpool,
Villa at home. They have
no,
Villa at home.
Liverpool at home against
I
Aston
mean,
Villa.
Liverpool have Villa at home.
Yeah,
All right, Villa away.
And Liverpool
you'd
pushing
kind
for
of
top
think
four, man.
Liverpool with the home crowd. They've got the
They
bit
will
between their teeth.
definitely win. Definitely they are winning.
Liverpool are still pushing for top four. Don't forget.
Who are
They're only
Brighton playing tomorrow,
one point
guys? Who have
behind
Brighton got?
Southampton.
I'll check.
Southampton on
Brighton are
Sunday.
playing. They're going to destroy them.
But
They're
then
not
they
playing
have
tomorrow,
City.
though.
They
They're
have
playing
City
Sunday.
and Villa
And
away.
they've got
They have
City, and then
Villa
they're
away.
gonna.
Yeah,
Because
but I think
yeah.
with that game in hand, I think Brighton really need to. How many points ahead of us are Brighton?
2,
1.
1.
So really,
Brighton
they
have
need.
got Southampton at home, Man City away next, and then last is away.
Spurs
Aston
have to win
Villa.
their next 2 games to have a chance at top 6. I
What have
think
they got?
they have to.
One home,
They have to win their next
2
2.
away.
Don't we only have 2 left?
We got tomorrow.
X, your Wi-Fi gave up.
Am I the one with shitty Wi-Fi?
No, I think
No.
Iggy makes a really.
It's
Iggy makes a really good point. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, Iggy.
No,
Yeah.
Balls for a fact.
I think.
Iggy,
Listen,
you're back now. You froze for like 10 seconds.
Who do we play our second game?
Leeds away.
Leeds. Yeah, we'll win both games.
I don't think we're winning Leeds away.
Oh, I wouldn't be so sure about
We
that.
haven't won away
Nah,
from
we'll win.
home since the beginning of Feb.
When have we last managed a 2-game winning streak?
We'll
Exactly.
play together. We'll get Conference League on the last day. Man,
Ryan
Actually,
Mason versus Sam Allardyce, desperate for a win. My money's on Big Sam. My money's on Big Sam, man. Where are Leeds, Dan?
Leeds.
Whereabouts?
18th.
Yeah.
18th.
yeah.
What's the point?
might get
So
relegated.
31, 32. So, it's so tight, man. That is so tight.
Leicester are down. Leicester are going down, definitely.
I'll
I
tell
don't
you
know
what,
if you can
nothing
say
against the way.
definitely. I don't know if you can say
Leicester's-
definitely, man. That's
Leicester's
1
still
point.
in it. They're still there.
Leicester.
I'll
Leicester
tell you
are
what,
going down. Leeds.
if
Up there.
Forest stay up
I
this
think that's
season,
also-
what an achievement.
Oh, yeah.
They only spent 200 million in the summer.
Yeah, but two entire
Yeah.
seasons in. Wow.
Michael, they spent 200 million and they've won just as much as Spurs. Maybe you finished 7th.
That's the kind
16.
of spending we respect, isn't it?
Um,
No, but
He's back.
in terms of top 6, right? Liverpool are 5th, right? Forget it, 5th or 4th, right? We compete against Brighton and Villa for this number 6 spot, right? We have Brentford at home and Leeds away. Brighton have Southampton at home, City at home. They are not winning that, sorry, and they have Villa away, which is really important, right? And Villa have Liverpool away and Brighton at home. So the way I look at it is Villa are most likely going to lose to Liverpool. That's how I see it. I think Brighton are going to lose to City, win against Southampton, and they will. And then basically, I think us ending up in top 6 depends on that Villa against Brighton match, how it
Does
goes,
this-
right?
Go on. Sorry,
That's
Yeah.
how I see it, right?
You could be right.
100%, yeah.
If
So we
they
need
draw and-
Liverpool to take 3 points off Aston Villa,
Villa.
for then Aston Villa to take 3 points off Brighton, and whilst all that's happening, we've got to do that little thing and win our games.
Hey, man, you know the funniest part? I could never
Because
like.
that's not guaranteed either.
We won the we were in the Champions League final, like
Oh, stop
4 years ago. I never thought if somebody could tell me 4 years ago that we would be praying Aston Villa and Brighton drop points, I would have slapped you across the face. This is telling you everything. I need about
But because
how
that
much
didn't
of a
happen, you
mess
can
our
slap
club is.
yourself across the face.
Can I share my screen somehow?
There.
yeah. If you go to if you hit present at the bottom, then share screen, then it gives me the option to bring it
Okay.
up.
That's not present. That's present.
Do you guys?
What did you say that was any different to what I just said, Dan?
I just realized how much of a mug I.
Do you? Can you see it?
I'm glad you said it, Dan. I'm glad you said that.
I thought you were saying it like a present, like when you
I'm
like when
just-
it's
can you
someone's
see it?
birthday and you give them a
Yeah,
present.
I just want to quote what Dan said. I've just realised how much of a mug I am.
Yeah,
This
I'll
guy's
take
out
that
of
on the chin. I'll
Man,
take
you're
that
out
one
of
on the
control,
chin.
you know that.
I'll take that one on the chin.
By the way,
Right,
like
zoom in, Michael, so we can see. it.
yeah, of course.
Yeah. There you
So
go.
you can type in your predicted score lines here, and it will calculate the table for you, right? And you don't have to do all the fixtures. So I guess we could do like a prediction or whatever, right? If let's just say we are winning, we are winning
God
against Brentford.
almighty. That's a big if
Let's-
right there.
Yeah, let's.
You think it's gonna be 20-0 to Liverpool?
Yeah.
Someone,
So this is just a typo.
someone in the comments said that Jurgen Klopp suspended for this game.
I wouldn't be surprised. That man jumps around in his box more than a kid in a trampoline park.
Do you know what? There's so much has happened. He's suspended. Ivan Toney's suspended for 8 months. Madness, absolute
And,
madness.
and Levy carries on as normal. The show goes on at Spurs.
Mate, we need to
Why
talk
have
about
you gone-
Lucas Moura as well, breaking down in tears. I don't know if it's joy or
They
what
must
are you
have shown
talking
him the
about?
highlights of the Liverpool game.
What are you talking about
have-
regarding Lucas Moura?
He did an
Did you
interview
see
and he
it?
started crying.
Did you not see it?
Can you? Sorry, Michael. Can I take this down for a second?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Go on, let Michael finish your thing, then we'll go to Lucas Moura. Sorry, man. Go
Yeah.
on.
So basically, like, if we assume that Brighton are going to lose to City, right? Then I just typed in us winning against Brentford, Villa losing to Liverpool,
I think we're going to
Brighton
to
winning
Leeds.
with Southampton, and I've typed in us drawing with Leeds and Villa drawing with Brighton. Then we end up 6th, right? So if
No, we end up 7th.
That's your 7th, Michael.
I'm sorry, 7th, yeah, 7th. Then yeah, that's it pretty much, right? Like we would have to win
By
both
1
matches,
point, man.
and yeah, so we would have to
That's
win
this
all
is what I said.
matches.
That's exactly what I said. If we're going to finish top 6, we
Do
have to
that.
win our next 2 games.
Then we are 6th, right?
Yeah,
I
man.
think the better question is, do we even deserve top 6? Because I don't know.
No,
Hey,
of
we don't
course
even
not.
deserve to
Of
be in the
course
Premier
not.
League next season. We don't even deserve to be in the Premier League next season. To be in top 6 is a blessing. The only reason we're actually in contention for top 6 is because of Antonio Conte. I will say this though. I don't know how. Can anybody
And
remind
Chelsea
me?
being god awful this season. Let's not forget that.
And
Chelsea
that
been
too.
woeful.
But then, if you're
Woeful.
gonna say that, wait, still, if you're gonna say that, then you also have to take into account how good Aston Villa and Brighton have been this season. So
I think with Conte we would have made 4th.
hell
Yeah,
yeah,
no, but what?
yeah.
But what
And
I'm
I
saying
wouldn't have
is,
to wear a Chelsea jersey tomorrow.
but what I'm
But-
saying is, Dan, when do you
That's
ever see
just
Chelsea
stupidity.
mid-table? When do you ever see
No.
Chelsea mid-table?
Mid-table, mate, they're in a relegation clash. What are you chatting about mid-table?
When
50,
do
50
you
this
ever
season.
see them that low down the table? When do you ever see
7
that?
years ago.
Well, they've actually been like in that mess a while ago. Yeah, 7 years ago.
7 years ago.
Think
Okay.
of where we would be without
We've been in this mess for 5 years.
without
but-
Kane's goals. Where would we
Yeah,
be?
but when you say mess, though, you mean that constant top 4 cycle without
Yeah.
winning a trophy.
Well,
Some
even just
clubs-
top 4. Even just top 4.
I think it's more of a mess because of how consistently it happens. If we were winning trophies like Liverpool and then one season we have one of those seasons, I wouldn't even call it a mess. But since it happens so consistently, it becomes a mess. Because honestly, it's like a broken record every season with this club. But for me, I don't know if you guys know how it is. I think they changed the rule, didn't they? If you qualify for 6, you don't have to play the qualifying games to get into the Europa League. You're just automatically in. Am I right or am I wrong?
I've got no idea because I stopped having any love for this season after Sheffield United. I just went full blown Levy out, Enoch out, purple and gold. Even if we talk about ice cream, I'll bring up Levy and Enoch. I'll find a way. I'll fucking find a way. Talk to me about
How the
wardrobes.
fuck
I'll blame
did we
Levy
do
and
You
Enoch.
see this ice
Purple
cream
and
shop
gold.
here? It's by the club shop. So that means when you buy ice cream here, the money goes to Daniel Levy. So I ain't buying no ice cream.
Lucas Moura. What is this video about, Iggy? Because I haven't seen it.
Tomorrow's going to be his last time game. He's done with Spurs, as in he's leaving at the end of the season. And he was saying He was literally saying his goodbyes and what the Spurs fans and the club and everything else has meant to him. His best moments at the club and how it was just. I mean, I don't know. I would love to have shared it, but you know, it's Spurs.
We
it's
can
Spurs.
share it, right? We
I
can
don't
share
know
it.
if
Don't
you
want
can.
that to happen
No,
again.
we can't risk anything like that
Do
ever
not-
again on this.
Don't
Sadly,
share anything.
we can't risk it.
Sadly,
Do not
even
share.
though we're discussing it, and I thought you can use footage whilst you're
We probably
discussing.
can do it, Iggy, but we can't. We
But
can't.
because
take the chance.
we given what happened with our last fucking channel, they can't take those chances because
No.
unfortunately
So basically,
there's
he's
the odd dickhead out there that would do something about it. And you know,
big up Paddy Hartnett. Respect, brother.
one
Clown.
day we will meet with Paddy. Don't worry, one day we'll meet and we'll have a little conversation about that whole thing. But
Look,
all in due course.
This is
But
what I say
this
to Lucas
Lucas Moura
Moura.
thing.
This is not a threat.
Are you guys?
This is not
are
a
you
threat,
guys?
by the way. I just want to make that clear. It's not a threat.
No, it's a
But
promise.
we'll have a conversation.
It's a
It's a
promise.
promise. I will have a
It's
conversation
a
with them
promise.
about it.
It's a promise. Is anyone here a little bit upset that Lucas?
Upset
Moura
about
is
what?
leaving?
Man, look, this is my message to Lucas Moura.
No, Dan,
I'll
1
pack-
second. Wait.
I'll
Before
pack
you
your
go full
bags
in,
and I'll drive you to the airport. Get out. That's
Have
my
you got a
message to
license?
Lucas Moura.
you haven't got a license, have you? It's fine.
I'll buy him a cab. I don't know.
Even if you had a car, you'd have lost it on a bet by now.
But
Bro, this is
listen,
my first
I
bet. I don't know if you've seen
I know he's been a bit. Well, he's been pretty dire for the past year or so. He hasn't
No
really
pun
featured. He had an
intended.
injury or two, but he did give us that magical night that obviously we didn't win anything, but for us, we'll never forget it. We won't. As Spurs fans, we'll never forget that.
It's
So,
true, man.
do we feel just a little tad sad that he is kind of he's left without
I
winning
do
a
a
trophy?
bit,
I
actually.
guess.
I do a bit, but let me
He was
explain
like-
myself, okay? No, I do a bit, but let me explain myself, okay? Because I know chat will come in for me and, you know, they will try to rip me to shreds for saying that, right? The reason why I'm a tad bit sad about it, and it's not that Lucas Moura is a club legend or whatever the fuck anyone wants to spin, right? It's just, I know he's been way below average footballer. He's been bad for us for like majority of his time here, right? But at least with him, I saw some love for the badge and some commitment, right? Commitment, as I said, the guy gave it what he could, right? It just wasn't much, but at least he was trying. That's how I see it, right? So when I watched that interview with him, right, and he like breaks down, starts crying, you know, says he will always love the club, whatever. I know it's all PR. I know it's all, you know, just playing on emotions, whatever, right? But I actually kind of felt something, right? It wasn't just, you know, off you go, piss off, you know, fuck off. If Dyer does the same, no mercy, right? But at least with Lucas, I know he's been shit, but at least he cared. At least I can give him that he cared about the club, he cared about the badge. He actually wanted to do good. He just wasn't capable of doing that, right? That's the only explanation I have for why I felt a bit moved, just a tiny bit, right? If not for that, if he was just a, you know, a normal player dropping stickers like that.
Is anyone
it.
sorry, actually, super chat Tom, big up Tom, who's there in the morning. I'll be there, I'll be there, buddy.
I'll come down.
Or Iggy. One of us will be there, so, or maybe both of us. So come find us. Come say hello tomorrow. Do you not just feel a little bit sad? Because I know Kuva, you're shaking your head. Do you not feel a little bit sad that this guy got us to the Champions League final and then he was dropped for the final? Don't you just feel a little bit sad for the guy and just think?
I think you would have done worse than Kane. Even
Kane
with
was
Kane's injury.
Kane was injured.
Yeah,
I don't
I'd take
know.
a Harry Kane with a broken leg over Lucas Moura.
All right, Dan. All right, okay. This is a man who is on such a high, such a buzz after what he did.
Didn't you
Got a
drop a
hat-trick.
stinker in the Premier League
Would you
after
not?
that
Would it not make sense to start him and say, do you know what, mate, just do that again. Go on, do that again.
I guess, but didn't he have like a bad period of Premier League games after that second leg?
Nah, man. At the end of the day, you got to
But
put
it was
that
like
thing
2
to
weeks.
aside.
It
The
was 2
bottom
weeks
line
between the
is
games.
he
But
proved
We were
that
terrible in the
competition.
league that whole season. We only got fourth again because Arsenal bottled it.
We didn't
Again,
win an
we only-
away game the whole
Yeah,
year.
we were crap.
I think he could have started. I will say this: that moment was the greatest moment of my life. Watching that third goal go in.
Fuck me,
Like,
that's
How
thank
bad
you
is
for
that?
that. But these
How
last
bad
3
is that?
weeks has been terrible. What?
How bad is that? As a
It's the
Spurs
greatest
fan?
night of
The
your
greatest
life.
moment is winning a semi-final.
I ain't even been alive. To
It's true.
see a trophy. So
This
you
is
can't
what this
even
is what
tell
Iggy
me
said.
like
This is what Iggy said. There's people out there that are young enough to not know Spurs
My son.
actually won trophies.
He's only
Mate,
2
yeah.
years older than my son, so I completely and utterly get it. He was chatting to me the other day. He goes, "Will I ever see Spurs win a trophy?" I said, "I don't
No.
fucking know." And that's the reality. I really don't know. I hope
Iggy,
so.
don't.
The time is in your hands. I'll give you that. They can't leave you
Bruv,
in
I've
it.
seen the
Cannot
U15.
outlive you. That's for sure. They cannot outlive you. But I can't guarantee that either.
I've seen the
Because
U15. I've seen the
I've got
U15.
kids. They've got
lift
kids
the
as
Premier League.
well.
I've seen the
So-
U15 lift the Premier League. I'm happy.
Oh, what the
Iggy.
under 18s have just won a double.
No, under 15s.
Does
Under
anyone
17s.
here? In fact, Kuva, what I want to know why Kuva doesn't feel sorry for Lucas Moura.
Well, because he's a serial underachiever at the club. He gets, for me, he's the same as Aaron Lennon. He's hero worshipped. He's got cult status
Yeah.
for just a
Yeah,
couple of games a season. He's with a man with that talent. I think it's tragic that he has not done more with his career. He should be a world beater, and he's just not been it. I kind of agree with Dan. I think you look at the Champions League final, expecting Lucas Moura to have 2 blinders in a row. When's that happened? I don't remember it. I think the thing to remember about Kane's performance in that final was we were up against a Virgil van Dijk at his peak, and he was man of the match. That's how good he was that day. That's what Kane was up against. Is Kane as good a striker as Virgil van Dijk as a defender at his peak? I'd say probably not. I'd say few people are as a striker. So we
Was he a fit Kane though, Kuva? Was he a fit Kane?
No.
I don't think it would have mattered. I think Virgil van Dijk at his peak stops Kane at his peak.
Because for me, in that Champions League, Kane went off in the first leg against Man City at 0-0. We then won that game. We went to Man City, got through the tie, and then we got through Ajax as well with Son and Moura up top. And we broke that formula as soon as we got to the final.
The thing is,
Don't forget Llorente. Don't forget Llorente, Stel.
The thing is, you look at it, Champions League final, biggest day in the club's history,
man.
Certainly in recent years.
He had to start.
And you've got your talismanic leading goal scorer coming back into the squad, and you're not going to play him. What would have happened the other way round if he sat on the bench and then came on with, say, half an hour to go when we really needed him, and he broke down because he wasn't fit straight away, and we left playing with 10 players, for example? That would have been backfired too. I think no matter what happened, Pochettino had to make a big call. He made it, and it didn't work out. Now, the assumption that just because Moura was available that we would have won it, based on what?
No. It's
and not only that,
it's not assuming that we would have won, right? I just think that Moura was like on a hype train, basically, right? I think you should utilize when players feel mentally, strong about themselves. I know I'm not doubting Kane's mentality, right? But I don't think it would have been a bad choice to start Lucas. Find a way to start Lucas. Maybe play them both, even, right?
He came on.
With
He
Son
came on and
in
did nothing.
Yeah,
This is how I see
Kane
it,
was
right?
playing did nothing too, right? So
this is how I
you
see
don't
it.
know how.
This is how I see it. No one knows what would happen if we did it differently. But what we do know is what we do know is Kane did start and it didn't work. So arguably you could say maybe it was the wrong decision. Well, it was the wrong decision. It didn't work. So
still,
by starting Lucas doesn't mean it would have been any different. But what we do know is by not starting him, that was the outcome. So I think that's where the argument. That's where the whole debate begins, right?
So if you've got 2 doors. Behind one of them is a murderer, and behind the other one is a murderer. You open one of them, you get killed. Does it mean you should have gone through the other door?
How do you know there's a murderer behind? No, you don't open any door then, Dan.
Well, then that just completely ruins
No,
my
but no,
analogy.
Dan, Dan, hold on. Listen to what you know. 1 minute. Listen to what you just done. You've said if you open one door,
So we just
death-
don't show up to
No,
the
hear me
Champions
out.
League final,
Hear
we
me
just
out.
don't play
No,
with a
hear me out.
striker.
No,
That's insane.
I just want you to hear how illogical what you've just said. How illogical it is. If you open up one door, you get murdered. If you open up the other door, you get murdered. Right? We opened up one door and we lost the match. You don't know what's behind the other door because we didn't start Moura. You don't know what's behind that door. So your logic doesn't make sense.
He came on though, and he did nothing. I don't see.
But he
him
didn't
starting
start
that
the
game.
game.
Start.
Didn't start
That's
the
the
game,
difference,
so you
right?
don't know what's behind that door.
He still came.
We will never
That's
know.
even-
We
that's
will never
even
know
worse.
because that
Dan,
chance is
You're
gone.
such
Okay.
good form, and everyone else on the pitch
No,
is
I
drained
want you to
after
go
playing
back
a
to that
Champions League
analogy.
final.
I want
You
you to
come
go
on
back
and
to
you
that
still
analogy
can't
you
do
just
anything. That's
gave.
even worse.
Dan,
I hear
go
if he
back-
had a good performance after he came on. Still, my analogy works if you open one of the doors.
No,
if you
your
just
analogy.
say
No,
I'm
no,
not going to
no,
open
Dan,
the door,
Dan.
that's like not
your
turning up to the
analogy.
Champions League
No,
final.
hold on a minute. Hold on. Your analogy works because you know what both outcomes are. You don't know what's behind the other door because we never
I know.
started.
Yeah. Schrodinger's son.
I know.
Right. I know.
Always-
I know it would have. Still, so we start Lucas Moura, and he's gonna win us the Champions League.
I think
I
You
never
don't
said
know.
that.
You don't know if
We
he
don't
didn't.
know.
I
We
think
don't know.
Kane
I
should
know.
have started.
I know he won't.
No, you don't
I
because
think
it never
Kane-
happened. You're guessing.
Thank you for the semi-final, but
You're
Go on,
guessing.
Iggy.
I think Kane
None of us know.
let Iggy give a say.
Right. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
Kane
You
should
get
have
out of it by
started.
doing that. Back to
Oh
you.
my
think
God!
it
Still,
was
you're
the
being so
right
rude
thing
to your
to-
co-host.
I think it was the
Wasn't
right
rude.
move. It was the right move to start Kane. We didn't know what outcome we was going to get. It's only because we saw what the outcome was that we now say, "Oh, Kane shouldn't have started." Kane should start. If he's fit, he starts because he's our
Yeah.
best striker. Even at 70%, he starts. But what we should have done is find a way of Lucas playing that night. We don't know what the outcome would have been. He might have had another shit game. I don't know. But the problem, the major thing that both him and Llorente in Kane's absence, they stepped up and they provided
of
us.
course.
And they were. You're right. They were on that massive hype train. So you got to use it. Football's momentum. It always has been. Whoever's got that momentum in football, you use that to your advantage. We should have found a way of getting Lucas Moura perhaps starting on the right hand side, because let's not forget, guys. If you remember, we know who the back four was in that final. We played Winks, Sissoko, Dele Alli, Ericsson, and Son behind Kane. We should have found a way to play one between Sissoko and Winks, play Ericsson in there, and then put Moura out on the right, and then play Dele Alli in the 10. That for me would have been a better option. At least you'd have had even one of those two guys in the side. The fact that we dropped both of them after they got us to the final, for me, that was wrong, because you've just dropped two of your players that are the reason why you're there, because they provide you goals in very important moments. Ajax with Moura and the one that
City.
and with City. What
Yeah.
you've killed those two players by putting them on the bench. So sorry, Dan, if you just score a hat trick in the semi-final to send your team in the final, and then the manager looks at you on the final and says, "Sorry, mate, you're on the bench," you cannot tell me you're coming on with 23 minutes to go and you're going to be fucking gassed. You're going to be deflated and you're going to be down and out because you've just been dropped for a final. You're not, and I believe that score was still 1-0, but the momentum had all gone to Liverpool. So you're not going to come on that final as if you're the man there.
Yeah, but
It all comes down to
think
character.
it's.
I get that, Iggy.
Lucas Moura goes on emotion. You saw the video today. He's an emotional player. He goes on emotion. His emotion probably goes above his ability.
Yeah.
If you lose that emotion on him as a player, you've lost maybe 50-60% of the actual player itself. So he's not going to go. He's not as, say, Kane, who's less emotional, but he's got the level never drops. Some players, that the emotion is what makes that player. You lose that. You look at Dele Alli. The moment that we told him to calm down and stop that the nastiness that he had in him, which is not a bad thing in football, but we told him to tone it down, and it done the same with Wayne Rooney. They told him to tone it down. All of a sudden, if you notice, they weren't quite the same players. Gascoigne was another one that was played on emotion. If he had that emotion bug in him, Gascoigne was a different animal. If you take that out of him, he's probably 50% of the player.
I'll look at it a little bit differently, Iggy. I'm looking back to that. Remember that summer when under Pochettino, where we were renegotiating the contracts of several key players, and you got every week there was one or two players. Picture of Pochettino signing a new contract. We bumped the wages way up there. And I remember a few of us talking on Facebook at the time saying, you watch them all bottom out on their form now. They've got the money coming in. They've made it. They aren't going to be worried about the football anymore. Dele Alli was top of that list, and it's exactly what happened to him. It's like the fame. He got there, that level of fame, money coming in. He's got the playboy lifestyle. He can do whatever he wants. Football non-important anymore. And he's just carried that on. It's tragic, but we've seen it before in players.
That's on him, though. That's on the individual. It's not.
Yeah.
It's a player. It's up to the player to what kind of career there was. That's on Dele Alli. Dele Alli, Balotelli's another one I recently read that he's moving. Those are kind of players that they will look, and Jose said it rightly. They will look at it one day. And it'll be regret that they didn't do more with their talent. But unfortunately, that's on them. You can only guide, you can only show, you can only do. But at the end of the day, the players have got to go out there and do it themselves. And it's up to them and their own discipline to do it. In my memory of Lucas Moura, just to go back onto the subject, it's gonna be just seeing him with that green jersey, jumping up in joy as he scored that famous picture where he's jumping up in joy as he scores that winning goal against Ajax. Outside of that, I have very little to say on it. Little.
Look, let's just say let's stop saying the ifs and maybes. Let's just say what happened.
You're the one with the analogy of two doors of ifs and maybe.
Anyway, as for Lucas again as well, look at the stats to back it up about him being underwhelming. 5 years with us, 150 games, and he still hasn't got 20 league goals for us.
This is what I say, Kuba. Like, our fans are emotionally attached to football.
Sounds like another Brazilian I know that plays for Spurs.
Yeah.
Oi. It's different. He's been here for one season. How long has Lucas Moura been here?
He's gonna Richie.
He's gonna break the record for what? What record?
Listen, I need to start wrapping it up. But before we do, I need to ask everyone's thoughts on the score tomorrow. So, Dan, come on, I'll start with you. What do you think tomorrow? Spurs versus Brentford. Tony's missing, but we are still. We seem to be better at home. We're better than home than away.
3-2 Tottenham.
What a celebration that was!
3-2 Tottenham. Kane needs 2 more, doesn't he?
For what?
Yeah, he'll get the 2 tomorrow.
No, sorry. If Spurs concede 2 more between now and the end of the season, we've broken our record of our worst ever amount of goals conceded in Premier League history. So,
another one to the cabinet. Woo!
No sense.
Right, Dan's gone 3-2 Spurs. What about you, Michael? What are you thinking?
Definitely, we are not keeping a clean sheet. Forget about it.
Yeah, we're not going to do that.
So, 2-1 for me. A 1 goal difference, 2-1 or 3-2, right? But I will settle on 2-1.
2-1 to Spurs, yeah?
Yep.
Okay, Kuva?
I'm thinking about pan frying up a bit of cod, maybe a bit of batter, a few chips with it. Keep it simple. Parsley, bit of lemon. Pick out. I think I might go for the classic Nightmare on Elm Street. I haven't watched that for a while.
So Kuva's not watching the game.
Kuva's not watching the game. No interest in the game.
Kuva, if you were to pick 2 numbers, what 2 numbers?
11 and 17.
All right, so Spurs are losing 11-17 tomorrow. You heard it first.
No, I'd watch that, to be fair.
Score predictions, Kuva.
Go on. Serious score prediction. I'm going to go for 1-0 Spurs, Harry Kane penalty in an absolute dire, grinding game.
Yeah, that's probably...
Hopefully the fans are so pissed off they start ripping up seats or something. I don't know.
Listen, we can only dream. Norman Jack, I don't know what you're on about, but still, you can be a mug at times. Can you tell me what specifically I've been a mug about, just so I know? So I can at least
everything.
respond to
you could be a mug at times.
Everything.
Just like in general.
Yeah.
I think we all have that capability of being a mug sometimes.
No, history of Tottenham. Apparently, it's in Premier League times. I think the 66 was it before Premier League? I don't know. You know your history better than me, Roy. You know Tottenham inside out.
His name is the history of Tottenham.
Yeah, his real name's Roy. I know some of these people, Dan. Just in case you don't know, he wasn't christened the history of Tottenham Hotspur. I don't know. I don't know how it works. I don't know how it works in Miami.
Just
Maybe
on his passport, it just says the history of Tottenham.
Yeah. We christened the child the history of Tottenham.
Sorry, before we go, I can't leave it unsaid about Lucas Moura. Despite him being underwhelming and me not being on his back about his overall performances, can't forget that night in Amsterdam.
Oh my God, man, you're gonna make me cry, bruv.
It was important. That is a big moment. It was enjoyable at the time. So he gets a pass for that. He gets a, well done, mate. Well, I'm not going to hate him.
It's a complete turnaround for you.
No, it's not.
You know what? Now that I think about it, for that night, you get a 5-year contract and you get to sit on absolutely beautiful wages.
The bloke should have been a world beater with his skill set. That's all I think.
You know what? When you think of that last sort of 4, 5, 6 years, man, have we topped that night? Have we actually? So that's
Iggy,
why.
Iggy, of the last 14 years of my life, I haven't topped that night.
Listen, the last 5, 6 years.
We've gone to shit since that night. Since that night, we've gone to
since then and before. I've never had a better day of my life.
Since then, that was the pinnacle of the games that we've had, because everything else after that has gone downhill. So that still remained the highest that we've been as a fan base. That's why it's still now, because we've gone downhill after that.
Like, making it to a Champions League is completely different. There's nothing like making it to a Champions League final. Honestly.
What's your prediction, Iggy? What's your prediction?
Oh, sorry. I'm gonna 3-1, 2-0. I think we will keep a clean sheet tomorrow, and I think we'll win 2-0.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, I think we'll.
I don't see it. I see Mbuepo get in.
I just think. Listen, I could be wrong, but I think them not having Ivan Toney would lose quite a bit up front. I think that they lack that outlet, that Ivan Toney's presence alone.
Done.
But because Tottenham, and it is Prince. I understand what you guys are going to say.
Scotland didn't enjoy that night in Amsterdam.
I just think like he's a big referring point for that. He leads the line really well, Tony. Without him, then listen, they have other players that can fill that gap. I just don't know. I don't know.
I think I must be the only one that must have enjoyed the away game at City in the round before even more than that.
Really?
To be fair, that was fucking class, though.
That disallowed goal by Raheem Sterling.
Yeah.
Never laughed.
I was sitting. Kuva, I was sitting next to my dad that was screaming about the Sterling goal. He was still screaming when they disallowed the goal. You do not know how much stick I gave him. He's a City fan, by the way, if you don't know.
Yeah, we know.
I hammered him.
You said, shut your noise. In an English accent, you say, shut your noise.
You hammered your dad, who's a City
fan. I was laughing so much, I nearly fell off my chair, and I was on the point of blacking out. I couldn't get
No. But when Lucas Moura scored that goal, Kuva, there's nothing matching that.
Has anyone loved VAR more than that moment? That has to be the VAR was like, fuck, they brought this to the game.
Iggy,
otherwise, that would have been
Sterling scored the winner. The Etihad went mad. The ref went to the camera, and it was disallowed. Oh my God, why am I giving myself positive energies? I'm gonna be.
Hey, Don, I want to say something for fuck's sake. Fuck, I forgot what I was about to say. Oh, I know. That
if it's about Spurs, it's not important.
The Expressions vlog from City Away is still one of my favorite Spurs media ever. Like him,
mate, can you put it on? Can you send it on WhatsApp later? I want to see it.
No,
he was
on Expressions channel. I'm pretty sure it's one of his popular videos.
He was sitting 3 to 4 rows away from the City fans, and they literally almost got into a scrap after that. It was absolutely amazing, Just scenes. Amazing game.
I think in Ajax when Ben and Sim were in the stands, and we scored that winner in the last second.
The high-pitched voice.
When Sim screamed like a 16-year-old girl.
Did you see my Liverpool reaction? Did you see my Liverpool reaction?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. You could have been.
Dude, the best.
Mate, but you are 14. You can scream like a little girl, right? Still.
The comment section on TikTok is absolutely rinsing me.
All right, listen. I do need to wrap it up. I'm going to go tomorrow. Spurs, Brentford. I'm going to go 1-1. I think we're going to draw 1-1. Boring game as well.
Wow, very positive still.
The great
sorry,
cloud
Dan.
never,
we're seventh.
failed.
Sorry, we're seventh in the league. Oh yeah, no. Spurs 5, Brentford.
I'm not even being
Spurs 5,
sarcastic.
Brentford.
I thought you were gonna go for a loss.
Dan, you
There you
fucking
go.
look like you're wearing a Brentford shirt.
Oh, don't do that now. Don't do that
I just want to remind everyone tomorrow. If you don't know, then
Get to
it's
know.
the protest. Get to know. Levy out, ink out, purple and gold tip is sold opposite the club shop. It's our last chance this season to voice our opinions and views. We want them gone. Please. We need the biggest one we've got so far. Get down to the protest.
I'm going to come down.
And be a part of it.
We've got to
I was going to say,
numbers, scarves.
we'll get the numbers. I want to say thank you to your lives for becoming channel member. Super chats from Language Angels, Wayne Holland, Wolves F1, Gaguma. Thank you so much. Let's talk Spurs. Jeff, Gaguma, and Tom81. Thank you guys. Everyone in the chat tonight, big yourselves up. Appreciate all your comments. I want to say thank you to Dan, Iggy, Michael, and Kuva for being on the show tonight.
Hey.
Wasn't there one more person?
No.
No? Okay.
Or maybe at the beginning. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jake,
I can't remember.
Your imaginary friend that's sitting on your left that you keep ignoring.
Luca Tony.
Well, I
Thank
mean-
you for Luca Tony for
Luca
coming on the show
Tony.
tonight. Luca Tony.
JP was on all along. You were just being really rude.
Big up to Cube for joining us right at the last second.
Jesus, Cube. She's still here.
She's alive.
My
At least
word.
he knows what country he lives in. Yeah, I do, Dan. Do you?
Oh, very
All
original,
right, listen.
very original, man.
On that note, guys, we're out of here. See you at the protest tomorrow, and let's see how we go. We'll be at live watch along beginning at 12:15 p.m. I don't know who's going to be on it yet.
I heard Will Stewart and D-Trix are going to do it.
I would try. I would
Yeah,
try
then
to
it's not a
join
watch along. Then it's not a watch along.
Michael, there is. D-Trix,
Nah.
Will Stewart, and Michael's going to join as well. So we got that. And then
I'll be
obviously
there at
Stella
half
and
time. People in the comments have asked for Kuva. So Kuva, if you're free, you're welcome to join us, bro.
Mate,
There's no watch along tomorrow. Iggy, there's no watch along tomorrow.
Why not?
Why is there no? Why are you saying there's no watch along when he's just announced that there's a watch?
Dan, are you going to try and be clever and say something
Will-
stupid again?
Will's on it. It's a stat sheet along.
Oh, right, here we go.
Oh,
There we
fuck
go.
off, Will.
Listen, on that note, no, because Will will come
You're
on.
so
No,
dead
Will
when
will come
sees
on
this.
and leave in
You're
another
so
hour.
dead.
Yeah, I'm
So
gonna hide.
When Will sees this, you're so dead.
Guys, loud and proud, 50 years and no more. Not a problem for me. Tottenham till I die. Know that. Thank you all for the chat. Big yourself up, and we're going to end it on
Big yourself
Nita's comments. Guys, God bless everyone. We're out of here. And see you tomorrow. Watch along. Leave you out.
Guys,
Leave it out.
leave you out.
Purple and gold.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away.
Portsmouth away.
When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.